YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the Carbon Z Cessna 150T. This thing comes equipped with the Avian ESC. We've got AS3X. We've got safe. We've got thrust reverse. Be careful of your tail wheel if you're using thrust reverse. It'll do that on you. But it usually recovers itself. This will be flight number 5 or 6 for us. We had some kind of crazy wind the other day, and it never really calmed down for us. We wanted to share a video with lighting that is good to show off the LEDs, and that's what we're doing right now, guys. If you guys haven't thought about buying this thing, check the video description. We have links. The links help to support our channel financially. With a small commission, you don't pay any extra. Get all your RC bucks, credit card miles, all that stuff. We just get a small commission too, which is nice. Helps fund our channel. So as you can see, this thing does it all. And it does a very good job of it, I might add. Beautiful red finish. We had a little bit of trouble with a couple of screws during the unbox, but otherwise it went super, super smooth. As you can see, the braking, I try to avoid that. Full landing flaps coming out. The Avian ESC will thrust reverse for you, but it's not like you absolutely need it here. This plane can slow down pretty good for landings. You get about a 6 to 10 foot takeoff in the good, well, not in good conditions, in pretty good conditions. They don't even have to be perfect. If you have wind going at your nose, you can take off with no throttle. This thing just has an amazing amount of lift. Sorry folks, I was about to land on top of our sprinkler. As you can see, this thing, it just does a great job, even in tighter quarters. Look at this thing. That is a big plane, folks. 2.1 meters. I think it's 2133 or something like this. Big Tundra tires, super well done suspension. And when I say suspension, look at that, guys. We can even cut the tall grass. But if you don't want to cut the grass, you can thrust reverse it too. Now check this out. Even in the crazy tall grass, it'll do it. That's what you call a bush plane. We're literally flying from a bush. Beautiful sunset tonight. Megan and I were out rushing around to get things done. Barely got it in tonight. Oh, let's show you some safe. Safe. Hands off, throttle off, flaps on, point the thing back. Look at that thing. You don't even really, I mean, the biggest thing is you have to know how to judge your perspectives and what direction you're going. But really with safe, you don't need to know everything. And safe just takes a lot of the guesswork out. I'm about 10% throttle here. Look at that thing, rock solid. And it's not dead calm, it's mostly calm. But look at the trees in the eagle killing zone. See it behind me? Look at the trees, they're moving. Look at this, I got safe on it. The thing is just like floating like a balloon. Okay, out of safe. AS3X mode. In the Unbox build and radio setup, we'll show you how to do full thrust reverse and all the goodies that you want to do. The one thing I can definitely tell you is that you'll want to watch just to see where we had trouble with the cowl screws, and then 2 screws that hold on the tail dragger assembly. Now, if you want to run this as a tricycle, you can, but it is optional gear. It doesn't come with it. So you'll see me as I get really, really dejected partway through the build when I realized that it didn't actually come in the box, because I was all excited about potentially doing that. I never had the Cessna 150, the Carbon Z Cessna 150. This will be my first one. So that is one other thing I was just noticing in that pass, that the prop will block the lights occasionally, and so you'll diminish the light because it stops the prop. So you'll want to keep it spinning a little bit if you don't want to lose that. Not quite unlimited vertical, but you can hammerhead and do all those good things. As you can see, the ESC has absolutely no qualms with doing stuff like this. About to fall out of it though. That's a skill thing. And safe. So cool, guys. Very, very, very happy with the way this thing is performing. It feels a lot better. We had like crazy confused winds all day yesterday, and that's our 6-minute timer. They recommended 6 on a 5000 6S, and I just think that's kind of like insanity. You can do a lot better. You can do a lot more than that if you've got a proper smart pack, in my opinion. But we'll show you landing here. No thrust reverse needed on that one because we got it into the grass. Just be real careful, guys. If you do reverse, those landing gear will get tangled, and it's just kind of reminds me a little bit of the Draco-esque sort of thing. You don't want to have a plane that's under the weather or not able to fly for you because you break a spring or something. Fortunately, we haven't broken any yet, but we have had them tangled 2 to 3 times. So we're trying to come up with a cool solution that will allow you to do thrust reverse with no problem. Guys, look how amazing this thing does. I mean, it's just whatever direction you point it, the thing flies. Now, granted, I'm a few mistakes high, but look, inside cornholes, it's just no problem at all. And by the way, we're after our 6-minute warning, by the way, too. It does make some very noisy, windy noises when you go by with no throttle. It's very weird. I think that was when the prop was slowing down. You good? Mm-hmm. Okay, listen. Oh, and by the way, the wing comes off in just a few seconds. I'd say probably 20 to 30 seconds you can get that thing off. And the strut folds. It's very, very well thought out. Little slip there, guys, if you see what I'm doing there with the wings. I did the thrust reverse for you guys there, but I didn't want to commit and bounce into the ground and crash it. So let's try it again. I just love taking this thing off and landing it. It is a joy, joy, joy to fly. Oh, you feel all that air from the prop wash? Okay, here we go. We're actually with the wind all of a sudden. What the heck?
Yeah, picked up.
That was weird. I guess I'm gonna bail and go the other direction. We'll try a real steep approach from over here. Now, remember, don't be afraid to alpha this thing in. It will bite you eventually. You can do some crazy stuff. Look at this thing. Watch this. We got so much power, I can show you this. Look at this. Very, very forgiving. I mean, you can bring it in and just plop it on the ground. Of course, you're hard on your tail wheel, so you gotta, again, you wanna be protective of that tail wheel. It's a very strong, sturdy, metallic design on the mount, but then of course, at the end of the day, you have a music wire, steel wire that's attached to a tire. So you need to be mindful of that. I may not even need reverse now, dang it. Woo! 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 See? That was lame. Okay, so just let's talk about battery life for a minute. We're 3 minutes 22 past our 6. It looks like we're at, well, we got plenty of power here, so we're gonna keep going for a little while longer. We're close, but no cigar, guys. The camera crew is like, oh great, we get to go longer. Yep.
It's so cool out here.
Yeah, I know. I'm not dripping sweat or anything at all.
Nope.
The good news is we did get our spraying done because we have some crazy weedage going on in our yard.
That's true.
And it was like pretty intense amount of sprayage. We made good time though.
Yeah, it wasn't bad actually.
Man, what a beautiful sunset. Guys, if you're still on the fence about this plane, I would say get off the fence. It's a pretty awesome plane. The 2 or 3 little issues we've had have been just so minor. So much of a nothing. So it'll slow down nicely, even if you don't stick the landing. I would not say that I stuck that landing. I would say that I really flubbed it. So watch this, we'll do a rough takeoff. We'll go down to the end of the runway here even and really push the issue. Check this out. Bouncy wounce. And there she goes, right where we need to be. Look at this, guys. Look at this climb. That's so cool. It just does it. It just does it, look at this. No stalling, no nothing. I mean, I'm on the rudder a lot, but just look at this. Now I'm coming out of the flaps and watch this transition. Nothing, it just keeps going. That is just so cool. Oh, by the way, we're out of power too. As in, we've been out for how long?
5 minutes.
5 minutes or something? Yeah. So Horizon, I'm not sure where you came up with 6 minutes. Was that off the E-flite packs from yesteryear? Well, because these smart packs are really lasting a lot longer. I've been very happy. I know some of you guys think they're not all the cat's meow that I call them, but I'll tell you what, they're as good as I've had. I've had a few decent batteries. All right, let's try doing a under the way. Take off flaps, just kind of relaxing in, just kind of taking it easy here, getting a little bit of airspeed here. Trading off airspeed for altitude, full landing flaps coming in now. Just kind of walking it along, trying to get into the alpha so I can do a nice gentle touchdown. That thing will get that resonance on it when you get in full reverse. So I would say at the end of the day, this plane is pretty sweet. Watch out for those couple of things we talked about, and I think you're gonna be golden. It does very good in rough terrain, guys. Our grass is pretty good right now, but let's just look at this. Look how much those steel struts move around nicely. And the tail wheel does very good so long as you're not backing into it. And if it does twist on you, you just gotta stop and go lift up the tail. Or generally, you can pull forward and it'll fix itself. But with that trailing mechanism the way it is, incidentally on a real one, it just, you know, you got to have so much leverage. They don't want to blow out the servo. I would assume that's why they did that. But you guys see that mechanism there? See, it really just takes a lot to get that thing turned. Okay, so we're at 3.8, you know. What do you think, camera crew? You want to do one more pass, or
Wait,
are we good?
3.8?
3.8 per cell, or just below.
Huh.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think we should do one takeoff here, and we'll do one more landing. You want to come over about 10 steps to your right? Okay, guys, we're going to go to the bull this time. You good? Mm-hmm. Okay. Takeoff flaps deployed. Get that tail up. See if we can land it here. You guys see how strong that landing gear is?
It is.
Pretty insane. I've been very mean to the landing gear. I've really been pressing it, saying, hey, when are you going to fail, landing gear? Look at this. So, as mentioned before, very, very nice plane. Very well done. That's 60% throttle, it's not dead. I did not do a pilot fatigue setting on this. I just set up reverse controllable, forward and forward. And we'll show you exactly how to do that in the Unbox build and radio setup, guys. So if you're not sure that you're ready for the thrust reverse, that's fine. You don't have to use it. It's still an amazing plane without it. But all I can say is I love having thrust reverse, and I love having the ability to do this. Let's go look at that tail wheel. Looks like it probably got tangled up on us a little bit. Okay, so the flaps are huge. They work very effectively. Oh, it looks like I popped one out. See, that is one possible outcome. Not a big deal still. Super easy to fix. You basically just have to kind of compress this spring or stretch it and then you're golden. So we'll put that back down and just show the people at home that it's working fine still. I would say, if anything, on this entire plane, that would be my only reservation about it. And to be perfectly frank, I sort of think I'm gonna be putting the tricycle gear on it because I wanna see this thing on tricycle. And I'm a real sucker for tricycle. But I think I'm gonna do Tundra tires on the tricycle potentially as well. It's not sure how I'm gonna do that, if it's gonna be pneumatic tires from Dubro or what we're gonna do. But if you guys are thinking about getting this plane, oh, and let's show them the ESC status and all that. 152. So that's 9 minutes 50. So let's just call it 10 plus 6. So let's call it 15 minutes of flight time, and then somewhere in the middle of that I would have been jabbering, maybe just a touch more. So 14 and a half, 15 minutes. And we're still, I mean, we could fly longer, but the lighting's getting to where it's gonna be really poor. So guys, in closing, I think this is the flight you're gonna see. We got other videos, so I'm gonna show you taking the wing off. We do show you in the Unbox build and radio setup the couple of screws that were issues. We ended up just chopping the tips off of a couple of screws we had to make them fit on the front. And on the back, we just had little issues getting our 2mm drive to spin the screws, which is embarrassing, but what are you gonna do? So,
you got a little bit of grass there on your wing from your mowing extravaganza.
Oh yeah, there's that. Don't worry, it's not covered any herbicides at all.
No.
Luckily, I'm not a herb. I'm a Brian.
That was terrible.
It was. Okay, so you unscrew this.
Super neat.
Yeah, it is really, really nice. Oh, and then the canopy and hatch comes off like this. And you can see where I put my 5000 6S. We did fly this on 7000 6S. It's a lot heavier, but it does fine. You have to put it flat. You can't put it vertical. If it goes vertical, it'll pop your hood off. Dang, I really made a mess of it. Son of a gun, I should have just reverse thrust. Okay, so then you pop this one piece out like this, see? There's your 3 loose components, and then check this out, guys. Check this out. You're done.
Yep.
That wing is off.
Not folded.
Jeez! Who drove that through the grass?
Who's flying this thing?
I don't know, it was me.
You think you're a crop duster?
So you can see, amazing, and then all you have to do to store those is just, which one does that go into? It goes into this one. So you can either put it here or you can put it in the plane, and it really does work pretty phenomenally. Very simple, and then this stuff can actually be kept on the plane. So guys, we're losing light, or I would keep going. This thing is awesome. I hope you have an opportunity to get one. The pre-order period is really short on this one, which is really nice. So if you guys are thinking about buying this one, don't hang out on the fence too long. And by the way, you know, like 2021, like the rest of everything else, if it's back ordered, order it. Horizon is one of the few companies that you can trust to back order items from, just because when you back order, sometimes it's like they ship it the next day. It's crazy. But sometimes it's not the next day. Draco. But anyway, just saying, guys, this plane is awesome. I think you're gonna like it. Yes, the wings do slide under it just fine. I don't wanna mar this up on the concrete, or I would do it right now. Very happy with it. Everything went together reasonably easy. And by the way, there are LEDs, as you can see, strobe and everything. And look how hard it is to put the wing back on, guys. Let's check this out. We'll just show you the whole shebang, on and back off again. Okay, now granted, this was only one wing, but just to show you how easy it is, we're not trying to trick anybody into thinking it's easier than it actually is. It's just legit easy, okay? You're supposed to put the struts on first when you assemble your wing. That was something we screwed up, but we were able to get them on after anyway.
Yep.
Of course, I got all the hardware in my hand right now.
That still took you like 12 seconds.
12 seconds?
Yeah,
Jeez,
like
that's slow. So as you can see, this thing just slides in there, and then you're good to go. I think at one point they might have had two installed, two of those bolts, but they must have taken one out of the design because the way it's molded. And then this pin here, it goes right here. Of course, it's getting kind of dark.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the hole's gonna go forward and then ready to rock and roll, folks. There it is, I got it. I just gotta stick it in the hole. All right, guys, so there you have it. I mean, this thing is just sweet. Look at the anti-crash beacon. This tail light you do have to sort of install. You have to route it along the front of the tail, and then you have to put a piece of tape across it, and then you have to mount this thing that covers up the LED. We show all that in exhaustive detail like every other build we do. But that being said, don't use 3-year-old open CA. Get some proper thin CA. You do need CA to put these tails on. On my Carbon Z Cub SS 2.1, both of them, I was able to use medium CA and cram and ram, and I had no problems. This one, I did have problems, partly because the tail design calls for some pressure on that tail. And I think between that and just using some crappy old CA, we ended up having to redo it. It's no big deal. If you screw up like I did, I ended up pinning in front of mine with like toothpicks, so it was no big deal. And then like one bamboo skewer. So if you see down here, if you run into that same situation, there's basically a triangular shaped hinge. And so I just pinned it here, 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 and here, just to make sure that I don't lose my hinges if the glue would fail, because that was the only thin CA I had. So without further ado, guys, this plane is awesome. And look, oh, just to prove everything's working, remember we put the wing on, took it off, all that. Very, very good plane. Definitely want to have this in your hangar, and I would highly recommend it. Oh, we didn't even show them the antenna.
Oh, yeah.
That was hard to remove. It's got the plastic, and you can squish it, so it's very soft. It's not going to break. Although it'll be the first thing that breaks off and you'll forget in the grass when you nose over your plane. Ironically enough, this plane just does not like nosing over. As you can see, it'll tip if you catch the wheels, but you know, that's nothing a big squishy pair won't take care of. Just saying. Guys, stay tuned. Right away, we are gonna jump straight into the unbox, build, and radio setup. We're gonna show you all the ins and outs that we ran into, problems, and the glorious finished product you've already seen, but you'll see it in a little better lighting. So there's definitely gonna be more to come from this plane. Oh, also optional floats from the Carbon Z Cub, same set, can be used on this one as well. So if you wanna fly for water ops, you can definitely do it. And yes, this thing is all pre-molded to receive all the old nose gear and mains with the wheel pants if you want them. But you can also do tricycle with off-road configuration as well. So they have this thing, it's super feature packed, but just keep in mind that stuff is not included. It comes with the main wheels and the tail dragger assembly, because this is, after all, a 150T for tail dragger. So that's all you get for tonight, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You've been doing a lot of that for us. We really help it. It really helps our channel to grow, and we really appreciate it. If you don't want to buy a plane and you want to still support us in another way, we got the Patreon, we got PayPal. Patreon does monthly stuff. So if you're not into monthly recurring charges on your credit card or whatever, then just the PayPal is another option that we opened up for people. And also the fee structure is way, 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 way better. So more of the money that you give to support will end up making it to us if you go with the PayPal route. Just an FYI for those of you. We are just getting used to using the Patreon stuff, and we're only like a month and a half in, and we have tried to hold down as much of the fee structure that ends up hitting you, like sales tax. If we do certain things, then you guys have to pay sales tax on it, which is ridiculous, because this last billing cycle, it was like a 16% fee. So Patreon is great because it's automatic, but at the end of the day, guys, if you guys are wanting to support us, the very best way you can do it is just buy the awesome plane that we just reviewed that you love, or another one that we reviewed some other time that you love. So that will help us stay in business, and that will help us to keep pumping out the content, keep the camera crew from smothering me in my sleep or running me over, or some terrible way of dying. We have a big yard. She could hide me in many, many, many different places. So just remember, I love living. All right, that's all you get, guys. Stay tuned. Coming up next with the unbox. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this little dainty little creature here. That was huge. Well, we started doing bikes. This isn't a bike.
Hopefully they can read the box.
You guys already know. Oh, what happened to your nose gear, Cessna 150T? Oh my goodness, where is it? It's back here. Yes, you already know. This is the Carbon Z Cessna 150T. Correct? Did I say that all right?
You did.
I am super, super excited to be bringing you this sort of re-release that is not a re-release. It is brand new. And the reason it's brand new is because it's a little bit different than the other one that was out before. And we are super excited. Oh, that was the easiest I've ever done it. Wow, I feel so proud. Oh my goodness gracious. Officially licensed aircraft by E-flite. Ooh, how's the glare now?
Terrible.
How do you like that? How's that?
Oh no, that's worse. Put it back.
Is that right there? Okay. Oh my goodness, that looks so awesome. I'm so excited to see this thing together. Does not come with the floats, by the way. This is of course the new tail dragger design, but from what I'm understanding, it comes with big squishy tires. Then it also comes with the trifecta. I honestly have been torn trying to decide what I'm gonna do about this because I really want the regular tricycle landing gear, but the new thing is the off-road Tundra tire offering. Now this is a basic, a Bite-A-Fly basic. They call it a skill level 2. It's supposed to be one of the best flying planes that Horizon, that E-flite ever made. And I'm not sure exactly why that is, but it just kind of, they're saying it is. And all I can say is the Carbon Z Cub is one of my best flying planes. And yes, we have the Draco, we have the Ultra Stick, we have all sorts of different variety of airplanes. And there's enough variety of airplanes, it's very hard to sit there and compare the performance, the flight performance, because they all fly a little bit different. Doesn't necessarily mean they're better than the others, but like the Carbon Z Cub flies really good. So they had a Prometheus too that was a Carbon Z Prometheus. I hope I'm saying that right. Oh wow, look at that. That looks way better than I was thinking. Okay. Camera crew is helping me. I'm pushing, she's pulling. Wow, that is huge. Oh my goodness. That looks so good. Oh, and by the way, this is 2.1 meter as mentioned on the box. But 2.1 meter is the seating because it's not actually 2.1 meter. It's a little bit bigger than that. The dimensions are fully outlined in the manual, but I'm trying to flip it up and the camera crew is trying to close it. I think it says it right here. Yeah. It's actually 2,125 millimeters by 1,570 nose to tail. Now I'm not sure if it's a little bit bigger with the tail dragger because it sticks out just a hair further, or if it's bigger with the nose gear. And to be honest with you guys, look at this stinking nose gear. Oh, this is killing me because I know you guys are gonna wanna see the new style, but I'm sitting here looking at the side of this thinking, oh man, that's so cool. Look, it's got the squishy nose gear. Oh.
So you still haven't decided yet. You don't know what you're gonna do.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I really wanna do whatever's gonna showcase the plane best and answer the most questions. But I don't know. We don't do a lot of the switching around once we've already done it. There's like a whole thing of landing gear in here. Oh, the motor's not installed.
Oh man.
Oh no. Why, Horizon? Do you see the sun in the horizon? Look, it just went over the tops of the trees. Did we make the wrong decision, camera crew?
Probably.
That is one humongo spar. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna pile up the stuff back there. Okay, not as pretty as the one that was in the Draco. Feel this. It feels like a drinking straw, how light it is. It's just, There's just nothing, but then it's so strong. I always love that. Okay, so I was trying to get the prop out, and I kind of got distracted by a million different choices. Oh, yes. Look. That is so huge. 15 by 7. So 7 inches of pitch, 15 inches top to bottom. Okay? That is sweet. Excuse me, guys. Manual is sort of folded. Not sure exactly why. It's so hard to put that flap, but it didn't fold bad, so I'm okay with that. You got their stupid registration thing in there. I mean, awesome registration thing. Sorry, we work with Horizon, so we have to say nice things about stuff like that. Manuals from Horizon are actually super, super good, very consistent, almost always laid out exactly the way we want. And I'm saying that from a perspective of Horizon, but I should be saying E-flite because really, Hangar 9 goes into more detail, but we felt like maybe they weren't quite as specific, and model to model consistency is something that I like. And I felt like E-flite did the best job so far that we've experienced. And Hobby Zone is actually really good too. But again, you do get a little bit of differences within the brands, even within the Horizon Hobby group. The mothership, Horizon Hobby, and then they all fall under that. Okay, so really well packed plane. It's a huge box because it's a big plane. And big planes are really cool. Sometimes they're not as good as you would think when they're big because you have trouble getting them around, but we're getting now so that the technology is such that you can take things apart so much better. Oh yes, look how huge the control surface is.
Amazing.
Plastic to protect the finish. That's weird. I was really disappointed there wasn't foam to protect the foam. Oh, there is foam to protect the foam. Look, it's actually foam to protect. I have to drive the gear to get this out. Oh my goodness. Show the people. You see the paint?
Yeah.
That is beautiful. Oh really man. Feel it.
I love the red.
I know, I do too. And there's like not even any, the mold releases are so dinky.
They're tiny.
And this paint is opaque and beautiful. Yeah. I love the shape of the wing. Oh yes, look at that.
The underside of the wing.
Look at the underside of the wing, guys.
Jeez, those are big servos.
They're big servos. Mm-hmm. And then, what's this here? Oh, that's a decorative detail. I thought it was a locking mechanism.
Oh.
And then you can see, this is what I was talking about. You get into these huge planes, and yes, that is possibly, I can't tell. That might be a signal wire, I'm not sure. I thought that was an alignment. It might just be an alignment thing. I'll have to look later. But basically you can stick that into the side of the fuse, and then you can break down the plane so much easier than you could on the old ones. Like, case in point, the Carbon Z Cub's maybe not the easiest to break down. It is toolless, I believe. But the Draco would probably be the most advanced breakdown that I've seen on a plane yet, where you can break that thing down in like literally minutes without any tools. This is like the most complicated unbox ever. It's like I'm building a puzzle, for God's sake here. This is so weird.
Well, not everybody puts their boxes back together either.
Well, I put my foam back together because we have a lot of the foam that stacks up otherwise.
Yeah.
Some guys put the whole plane back in.
Well, that's true.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that looks so good.
That's so cool.
Oh man, look at all the bottom. Look at this. We have the mount points with brass nut zerts. And then this is for the floats, I believe. Oh no, that's 1, 2, and then of course the nose gear. You have 3 different spots. 1, 2, 3. Then there's a hole here. Look inside there. You see those push rods? They go through that receiver cup. Mm-hmm. That is so cool. They must have really engineered this thing nicely. Oh my goodness. It looks so good. There's stuff stuffed in here because they want to protect this carbon fiber rod from damaging the foam. Man, they went the extra mile on this. I mean, all this plastic to protect the foam. It's just incredible. I'm super, super happy with the way this is coming out of the box. We have a nose cowl here. I'm just trying to make some sense of how I'm pulling this out of the packaging. Look at those lights. Oh, yes. They're huge.
Wow.
Okay, so we got to plug that in.
Is there a light on the bottom of the fuse?
I don't know. I don't think so. Why?
So tail light. I was just trying to count the lights.
Oh, that tail light goes into the top, the top and rear of the rudder.
Ooh, yeah, cool.
So we have to actually do that. Guys, if you're annoyed about having to put that little LED in, I'm kind of with you because I don't want to have to glue this in. But you got to admit,
that's going to be pretty cool.
It's going to make the box a lot bigger. And this box is already huge. So Horizon's usually good about trying to find the happy medium on the box sizes because box sizes are killers when it comes to shipping. You people over in New Zealand are going to hate me for reviewing this because now you're going to want it. And it's going to cost a fortune, I bet, to get it there. These are CA hinges, just like on the Carbon Z. It looks like there's a plastic thing that we're going to have to probably put on to go along with this. This is going to stick in there, obviously. But then there's like a finished little end piece that's going to go on there. So that's awesome. I think we might take a second. Let's pause and we'll come right back. Okay, so yet another removable piece in here. Oh my goodness. This one doesn't want to come out though. I'm not sure why. Oh, it's just trapped. Okay. So working on depuzzling this box. The other half of the wing. So on the bottom. Whoa, there's the horizontal stabilizers. I was trying to unwrap something we haven't seen yet. Ugh, I hate to do this, guys. It's really mean on your servos to do this. See that? Ooh. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. That paint looks good except for right there. Okay, we already looked at the other wing, so we'll just go ahead and set that down there. Horizontal stabs. Embedded hinges here. It's not just a pinch hinge. Little plastic reinforcement here. Carbon fiber all the way through. Pretty stiff, I mean not infinitely, but you can see there's no reinforcement through this big elevator except for here and here. Just moving it to break free all that. That feels pretty good. Beautiful red paint. Doesn't quite wrap the nose. Been nice if it wrapped the nose. I think it would have helped hide some of the damage you get from wear and tear. Okay, and then the last horizontal stabilizer. Okay, so that's the same. Control, oh look, see? Brass bushing or nutserts. Sweet, this thing's gonna bolt together great. All right, now you've got a gigantic nutsack. Oh wait, that's more of an accessory. That's not nuts and bolts. Nope, there's nutsacks in the nutsack. Oh. Here, grab that. Beautiful. Then we have a bunch of struts. I am gonna cut this with, I probably should just go get a zip tie, a side cutter. Yeah, let's get a side cutter because I was trying to do it with the knife so I could keep it as simple as possible, but I just don't think that's gonna happen. Okay, so side cutters, got some pretty big zip ties in there. You're not gonna be able to just cut those probably with a knife without running the risk of stabbing yourself or something else in here. Now all this crap is zip tied together. And that's probably good because you need to have it protected, but look at this. These look like the original, ooh, way better design. Look at that. Look how nice that is. That's so simple. Oh, I love it. It's like a flat-bladed screw that goes into a standoff. Looks like a standoff there. The standoff has been machined to receive a pin. Very cool. Like that design. Foam to protect the foam that's protecting the foam that's wrapped around the leg. Oh yeah. I think that's steel. I think that's steel. Feels like steel, so it should spring. Aluminum is nice because it's light, but aluminum keeps its shape. So when you get a bad landing and things splay out on you, it doesn't spring back, okay? So yeah, some of you guys are probably giving this like, oh man, that is so strong. I'm actually quite excited to see that, but I'm so torn because I really want the other landing gear. Because I never had the carbon Z-Cub before. And even though this is a re-release, we just haven't ever had it. And I'm kind of a sucker for the Cessna 150. Okay, these are wing struts. Or these, yeah, they're wing struts. So a lot simpler wing struts on this compared to the carbon Z-Cub, which has a long, skinny, complicated wing strut. These ones are simple, plastic all through, glued together halfway. There's like a seam right here where they glued them together. Carries back and then comes back, so it's really nice. Another carbon fiber spar, very, very sturdy on this one. This one's for the horizontal stabilizer. So yeah, it's gonna slide in there, I think. Actually, I'm not 100% sold. Yeah, that's it. That's gonna be it for sure. Oh yeah. Well, it doesn't look like that's straight. Maybe I've got that wrong. Maybe it doesn't go in there. Maybe that goes somewhere else.
Where would it go?
I don't know. Oh, these do go into the fuselage at an angle. They go like that.
Oh.
Okay, or see, you can line up that. That's the angle they go. Okay, so that should go together with that. And then they actually come with some stickers, which is pretty sweet. Let's go ahead and cut out the motor. Ooh, the big boy.
Jeez.
Okay, BL50. 525 kV brushless outrunner. It's an EFLM 7450. Big boy. And of course, caution, hot, white. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be hot while we're building it. I don't understand the rationale behind that on one of the wires like that, because the truth is, this thing should be kind of pretty well protected once you get it installed. So not 100% sure on that. We'll find out later. Okay, here's the tail dragger assembly. And it looks like we've got the other landing gear. I'm assuming that the landing gear mechanism that you use to put the old style together must be packed into that giant nut and bolt sack, right? Because I haven't really seen any of that. It might be taped to the bottom. Sometimes they put weird stuff on the bottom of these boxes. So yeah, these both look super nice. Look at that. That is, I'm really impressed with that. This tail dragger assembly is something that you guys haven't seen before. So let's look at that. I do like that you could do both configurations. Okay, so it looks like a servo adapter, big modified bolt. They drilled a hole straight through a bolt. That is very interesting. And then they nutted that on there to make their adaptation through so that they've got more material for bite. That was kind of a nice idea. You know, some of these little hobby ideas that we see, I feel like sometimes they go straight to a CNC machine too fast. I like jig it up, drill a hole, be done with it. I feel like that's the best way to do some of these things, because really at the end of the day, that's the way we're gonna fix this stuff too. So I kind of like that. This looks like it's gonna be super robust. It's made of heavy duty spring steel, and then I don't know if this is gonna bend at all. That might be aluminum. That's steel. Just listen to the way it hit the counter. There is nothing on the bottom. There's the spot where the manual's supposed to go. So I don't know if maybe they just didn't know yet. We do get these things early. So, I mean, sometimes they haven't worked out all the details. The cats have already tried to attack the zip ties. We're gonna take a second, pick up the foam, and come right back. All right, so we laid everything out. First things first, I was talking about the optional landing gear for the nose gear tricycle configuration as this was before. That is an option, meaning you have to order that and buy it or take it off of your old one or whatever. So my apologies, guys, I misunderstood that, but they are an optional choice even though they show it on the side of the box with that stuff on. So please keep in mind that that is an option. Okay, so we're gonna CA this thing in. You just gotta get your CA on. And then these things get slid in, and it is not a real super fun process in my opinion. But the idea is to just work quick and don't screw around. So this time you're gonna have to move wherever you need to move, and don't block my light, please, if at all possible, because you only get one shot at this. That is gluey, you know. And so I'm gonna hurry, and I hate this step because it's really easy to screw up, but there it is. And it looks like I got it in there right. Now you'll note that this is up higher. I don't know if that's supposed to be that way. I think it's supposed to be down lower, like that, so that this lines up, but mine is not lining up very good. I'm pulling it down. Okay, now I got better alignment. I had to really pull hard. So keep in mind, when you do that move, the best thing to do is to get it aligned, get the glue in there, and then work it. And then your gap will open up to where it needs to be, but you don't want it to open up too far because it'll screw up your performance of your rudder. Show them the gap really close up. They can see how the gap is opening. When you go sharp with your rudder, you see how that works? That makes sense? Okay, now that we have that done, I always dread that step because of the CA and getting it in right. It's not hard, it's just like if you screwed up, it's a pain to fix. So I've done it on the Carbon Z Cub a couple of times now because we've built 2 of them, but it made me nervous on that too. Now on this plane, it's got an extra layer of difficulty because you have to actually get this LED routed through here. So as you can see, you have to make this kind of weird bend and then chase it down the channel that they've left us right there. So it looks like I might have some extra masking tape on there. That's probably why mine looks so terrible. Ah, shoot, I wish I would have realized that before I did this. So guys, check yours first. I see it now, it's masking tape. Dang. That would have been a little bit easier before. Yeah, it might have just been a little bit of paint. But either way, yeah, that's totally masking tape. Yep. Okay, so that makes it a lot easier. My masking tape was making that a lot thicker than it should have been. So I'm gonna take and just flatten this cable so that it comes out of the joint better, and I'm gonna push back into the foam. See how I did that? So there's 0 pressure. There's 0 pressure on that hinge. When this turns, you see, there's nothing pressure-wise, because that's the first way you're gonna break this wire is by putting a bunch of pressure on it, okay? So I'm gonna actually chase that through and get it all flat like this, and there is an included piece of kind of like vinyl sort of tapey stuff. And you peel this back, throw the backing away, and then it's not like it's super clear which way that goes because it's not trimmed perfectly. I thought that'd be trimmed perfectly, didn't you? So I guess I'm gonna lay it on there with the hinge all the way back. Ooh boy, I got that laid down kind of funny, didn't I? Be careful you get that centered as much as you can. Okay, so now that I've got that centered, now I can stick that down into the hinge joint, okay? Well, I didn't like that very much, but it's fine. Okay, now the camera crew is gonna give you a better spot so you can kind of see what's going on there from that angle. Okay, so the next step, this is where we have to cover this up, okay? Again, not hard, I just want good results. This is gonna slide in here, the LED, and then make sure it penetrates all the way into the housing. There is a housing up there, okay? And mine is not wanting to go up in there, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. You see what I'm struggling with? Mm-hmm. Theirs is popped through, you see? Mine is not popping through. I'm not sure if I'm doing it wrong or maybe I'm not pushing hard enough. So I think I'm gonna have to probably I'm gonna get a small screwdriver, see if we can push in with that. We've got these hex drives that have different size tips on them. Let me try 7. That's pretty small. Try 0.9. 0.9 might be the. Nah, that's too small too. Let's go to 1.5. That's pretty good. So what I'm looking for is a surface that I can push in here, get some pressure on there without damaging the LED, because these LED cases are not impervious to damage. They can be broken. So I'm going to put this so that the wires are vertical. I'm going to get that lined up as best I can. I understand you're going to have a hard time seeing this, camera crew, but just do your best. Now I'm going to try to push on it, see if I can get it to seat down there. Yeah, it doesn't feel like that's going to go, really. The instructions didn't say anything about pushing it through like this, did they?
Would have to read them again.
Oh my goodness. I'm pushing super hard. Now it's kind of protruding through a little bit. Can they see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm not sure if I'm maybe my LED is just a fraction of a dimension bigger. Ah, there it goes. Maybe it's supposed to snap in. That's probably what's going on there, guys. Okay, cool. So I got that through. Now that you've seen me do it, you can learn from my screw up. I don't even know if I'd call that a screw up. That was just kind of challenging. Then this wire, I'm going to kind of put the excess to the top and loop back a little teeny bit. See how I loop that? Then I'm going to try to slide this over and try not to screw up any of this. I can trap it like this. Oh, yeah, okay, so that won't be so bad. All right, I was nervous about that step because I want this to look good. Mm-hmm. Again, if it was mounted from the factory, it would be much appreciated, but then your box dimensions get thrown out the window, so. All right, now I need to CA this. I can't have you block my elbow spot there, camera crew. Okay, I'm gonna go along the side like this and just let that drip go down. You see how the drip's going down? Mm-hmm. Same thing over here. This is just like crappy CA that I got from a Dynam plane, so. Thank goodness for Dynam, right? We have other CA downstairs. I'm just too lazy to go get it. Which is not true, guys. I went downstairs already. I had to get some clear packing tape. But I want to use this CA up because it doesn't last forever. Even the stuff that's sealed, it always seems to fail eventually. Some of you guys put them in fridges and things like that, and believe it or not, of all the freedoms and flexibilities that the camera crew gives me,
putting glue in the fridge is not.
Glue in the fridge has not made the list yet, and that's like honestly compared to all the other freedoms I enjoy, I can tolerate that.
Yeah, should be mentioned.
No batteries in the fridge, no CA in the fridge. You got to draw the line somewhere, right?
Your fridge is kind of full.
Our fridge is full. We have 2 fridges and we have a family of 6. So we go through a lot.
And they're all home all the time.
Yeah. Okay, show the people on this side. I had to pick off some stuff on that side. So maybe not a strong suit there. I'm just gonna show you, I scraped that with my fingernail. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of like a little black thing. Oh yeah, that's gonna cover up perfect.
Oh yeah.
That's fine, good enough. Now on the other side, this tape, really disappointed in this tape. Look at this tape. Why was that thing not cut? That should have been cut at an angle.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's thick vinyl tape. Mm-hmm. So guys, if you want to learn something from Brian Phillips RC today, and I know some of you guys always suggest that you're learning lots of new things, and to be perfectly frank, that's great. We're very glad. That's what we try to do, but at the same time, we know we fail some of you more experienced modelers because we are new, relatively new at this. I mean, not at RC stuff, but just at fixed wing aircraft. We've only been at it for about 6 years, 6.5 years. So you see, I cut that after the fact. That would have been better. And you see that little blemish? That's because I didn't apply this where I wanted. You see how it's kind of, the bump is at the top. That would have been better if it was more centered. You want to kind of get it up to the edge of this seam right there. Mm-hmm. That's where that needs to slide back. So I feel like we'd get a little bit better penetration and purchase on that. But overall, all in all, looks good. I mean, I'm 100% certain if the factory would have done that, they would have done a better job than I did. But that's fine, because then the box would have needed to be too big, and we all kind of get that. So pleased with that. Looks totally gorgeous from here. Again, I've never had this Cessna 150, and I'm super excited to see it all together. However, I am bummed because I was all excited about doing the nose gear. So let's continue onward. Do you wanna maybe put the nose together next, or is that?
Yeah, we could do that. Or do you want to hook up the tail wheel while we're on this?
Oh yeah, we
Either
can
way.
do the tail wheel.
Okay.
I don't care. This plane is big, guys. Look at this. It's not even all the way together. I'm 6'1", 6'3" if I'm buying life insurance. See this? That's not even on the ground yet. It's gonna be another 4 or 5 inches yet.
Yeah.
It's big. So I think we'll flip it upside down. So far Tom has gotten us 2 tools that we have needed for this project. Thanks, Tom. That is so strange.
To read and figure out which hardware we need.
From the nutsack?
Mm-hmm. There's multiple nutsacks.
Whoa. I don't know if I'm into that.
Like individually packaged.
Wow, they are, but they're not labeled. Weird. Strange how Horizon does
But
that. They're all different though.
Yeah, each bag is
Has a
its
unique-
own, hardware set.
Okay, springs, screws, bolts, bolts. Okay. These springs go to the rudder
Yes.
assembly.
Mm-hmm. But I know you need screws too, so I have to look.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's probably those, but oh, that's actually what goes on the, and it goes back here on these things. These are ball joints. Nice. Man, there's just like balls on all these things anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna go like that. And then when the rudder actuates, this is gonna actuate, which is pretty cool to have it back like that, but look at that differential in geometry. That's craziness. Okay, how does this go together, camera crew? You seem to, and we're supposed to do this before the wing, correct?
Mm-hmm. This is step 2. So number 1 is insert the tail gear springs as shown.
You put the springs in first?
Yes, that's what it says.
In this or that?
In the plane first.
Okay, I'll have to look
You're
because
gonna
I'm not
have to
sure
look
which
at the picture
direction.
because it has directions. It has-
Oh, anytime there's springs on tail gear, it's always a fiasco. Yeah, it goes upward. Okay.
And then insert the opposite.
Because there's
end.
like a Z-bend on both ends.
And then we're gonna need some screws here in a second.
Every time that we've had these things on tail gear, it's been kind of nightmarish assembly.
Really?
Yeah, the air tractor had it.
remember that one
I'm
now.
thinking of other planes, but I can't think of their names right now. But every time that they exist, they did machine this nicely. Look, it's cupped out and everything. That is so weird.
This one also has pins.
Whoops. Oh, there's pins?
Yes, but they go in
Butt
like
pins?
they go in like a lock or like a.
That's weird.
There's a name for it, and you'll know. It's
A
like
clevis or something?
Sorta.
I don't know. Okay, so then I twist this in.
Pin for the pins. Yeah.
This one's cupped too on the bottom. You guys
Yeah.
see that? That's pretty cool. Well, so far it's not nightmarish. That was pretty dang easy.
Spoke too soon.
Whatever. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. That is so cool. That's weird. And cool if it holds up, which is a big if, guys. You know, we're Horizon guys, and we're Horizon fanboy, I am. But the thing is, Horizon does not stop gravity and the natural things from happening. Okay, so this is M310. And when you have a tail dragger, okay, so there's 10 millimeter and then there's 30. So here's 10, here's 30, okay? Yeah.
And it looks like one extra of each, maybe.
Well, that's the way they used to do it all the time. It used to be on a plane of this scale, you'd get one extra of everything, except for wings, things like that, and fuselages.
Actual, like, airplane parts.
If it came in a nut sack
You
or a
got
bolt
an
sack,
extra.
you got an extra. Get out! So we have these, that I might have been wrong on this guesstimate. So they said the short one goes where and the long one goes where?
Short one in the back, long one in the front.
Okay. That does not seem right. I got the wrong bolts. This one's too small. The reason I say is because this one should be the same. I wonder if this is one of those early release issues. As in, we're supposed to use 2 long ones.
Definitely says to, it also says there's extra hardware included. So,
Okay, so they like come right out and tell you that?
yes, it does actually say that there are spare fasteners.
That's 2 millimeter. 2 meters. That's, you know, I might be wrong. This might be longer than 30, but that does seem about right, doesn't it?
I think 30 was the longest one I saw.
I understand
Through.
what you're saying, but I'm saying, did that look like 30 millimeters to you?
I don't know. Better in standard estimation.
Yeah, you know what? That is a standard part too, because that is not meshed up very good. That's one of those things. We haven't ever had those before. Let's just assume that that's not actually a 2 millimeter drive size, but whatever, it worked. All right, let's look. Those are not it, right? These are probably it. These ones are it. Yep, 10 millimeters and 30 millimeters. Those other ones are only about 4 millimeters long. Yep.
Are you sure those aren't 12s?
Ooh.
Because
Really?
we also need 12s and 18s at some point.
Oh my goodness. So I have to actually differentiate between a 10 and a 12?
Ooh, and we need 20s.
Oh my goodness. Are you seriously?
I am not kidding. I knew 30 was the biggest I saw.
All right, I'm getting calipers out.
Okay.
We've admitted defeat, folks. I didn't want to measure this crap. That looks like it's probably a 12 if that's actual size. Hey,
I'm not sure that it is. Is it?
wait. Just close the manual so I can look at it. So 30, okay, so just so you guys are aware, there's 30. It is actual size.
Okay.
So let's go to 10 and verify. Geez, whoever put my little label on my Chinese calipers probably got fired. Because it's not very precise on the plastic. Okay, so that is definitely actual size. These got to be 12. So good thing we didn't use. Oh, look, here they are. Here's some 10s. Yeah, I don't know. That could just as well. Is there anything like 15s?
10, 18, 8. No, that's for the prop. 12.
This is 11. Oh, jeez. 11.44. Okay, measuring here. Okay, so that's 0. Let's just go this way. That's 0. We'll measure on this axis here. That's got to be 12.
Mm-hmm. And we do need 12s.
How many? 4? Because I have a sneaky suspicion that 12s would fit.
No, just 2 of the 12s.
Really?
Yeah, because they go right here on either side of the horizontal stabilizer.
So let me guess. Okay, then they gave us 4, so it's a 12.
Yeah. I think the ones you have are right.
Let's go look at them again.
Okay.
Sorry guys, this happens when you watch us struggle, then you can enjoy our struggle, get a good chuckle, and then,
You cannot struggle.
yep, don't struggle, watch us,
You'll know.
okay? I'm calling that 30.
Yep.
We were right on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's 2 of those. But then this one isn't right. This one's too small. That one is like 7.
Okay.
So they didn't even include a 10. They just assumed that we'd be smart enough to know that they were 10s, was what they meant. When they said 10, they meant 12. Right? Because look, these ones are definitely not.
We
'Cause
do
there's-
need an 8 at some point, I think. So maybe those are for the 8s.
I'm pretty sure they're going to be 8s.
Okay.
If they're measuring at 8. Yeah, this is definitely 12s here, guys. This is 12s right here. Look at that. That's a 12. So 12 millimeters right there. I mean, it's obviously going to go, guys. Don't worry. We know that we can stick a 12 in a 10 hole.
Well,
I mean, if you ram it all the way in
I mean, you should.
really quick, they'll never know any better.
Right.
Yeah. If I'd have died for every time I heard that. This is a 12. Make no mistake.
Okay.
The 12 is fine. Because we only need 2 on the wing, that's got to be the way it is. I don't know how else that would work. So Horizon, if you want to update that, that'd be great in the manual. Yeah. Other than that, so far so good. I am also pretty sure that's not a 2. It's another size. It's some other standard. So let's pause. We'll figure out what it is. All right, guys. So Rtl Fasteners sent us these kits a while back. They saved the day on a few things. I've already tried my Chinese hardware from the garage. Beautiful. Yes, I have a lot better tools than this as well. I'm just, again, too lazy to go get them. I got about 7 sets of these, so don't bust my balls over not having beautiful, amazing Allen wrenches. Okay, I got hundreds of sets of these. This is one set, this is one set. This is standard, this is metric. The standard equivalent would have been in this range, okay? So there, you'll note that it doesn't fit, okay? I believe that's 5/64, everybody. 5/64 doesn't fit, okay? If you take a 2mm and you stick it in the hole, it also sort of doesn't fit. Yes, it gets the job done, but it feels like you're gonna strip it. It feels like deja vu, like just the other day. We seem to have a problem with this. Do you remember that day? Mm-hmm. I do too.
Yep.
Okay, so what we're gonna use is we're gonna use the Rtl Fasteners. This is 5/64, so this is a pro tip, super ultra amazing, probably cost more than you wanted to pay for it, but it comes in a kit. This is the kit that I recommended people get. It is a hardware kit, number 9155. If you decide to buy this stuff, we have links in the description below. Don't worry, this looks like a commercial, but I promise you it just came up because this comes up all the time. This is the metric kit, kit number 743. The reason I'm telling you that is because you're gonna ask me and then I'm gonna have to go look it up. Just trust me, guys. Look at that. That doesn't fit. It spins free. So it is not 5/64. Excuse me, did I say that right? Mm-hmm. 5/64 of an inch? Yeah, it is not 5/64 of an inch, guys. So we have confirmed that. So if we go over here and we get this pro tip in the 2mm, this 1.5, then this one's 2. This has the high quality ball tip on it, okay? Ooh, does it work? Look. It also doesn't work. So I'm gonna ask this question to Horizon. Horizon, where are you getting your hardware? What size is this? It's not 2. It's like 2 and some change. So if you run into this, guys, I'm gonna show you the trick that sometimes works and other times it doesn't quite give you enough purchase. I want that thing tight. I want it tight like we're gonna be flying it on an airplane, okay? So I'm gonna take a piece of plastic and I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna stick it in there and then I'm gonna turn. See, it still slips. You remember when we went through all these different techniques that we had tried on other things and had some level of success? I feel like we're gonna do it again. I almost wonder if we need to take some CA and build it up on the tip, or take some CA from a rag that we just used earlier and just try to ram it in there. See, I can't torque it down because it's the wrong size. And guys, I'm not beating up on Horizon, trust me. I like Horizon a lot. I'm a big fanboy and I love their planes. But when stuff like this happens, it's frustrating for everybody. I'm sure Horizon would be pissed if they knew this. But if you look at this, What size is it? Okay, I'm spinning, it's spinning. These are German. They're nice. They work very good. We've had extremely good success with them. Tom got them for me and he's a nice guy. Whatever, they're in there. I want to be able to torque that down and, you know, want to rip it off. Oh, look, look right here. See this? Look at this. That is the same set screw design that was on, drum roll, the Carbon Z Cub. Well, that answers all the questions on that hardware. So if you guys are getting to the point where you're mounting your tail wheel and you're like, what am I doing wrong? Why does this not fit? Don't worry, it's not you, it's them on this one. So have we answered that question?
Yep.
All right, so that's done. The good news is it's working. The good news is I was able to accomplish a tight enough fit and in order to get that thing to hold. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll pause, we'll reset, figure out where we were, and come right back. That is a big pair. We took a minute and cooled down. Also known as the camera crew told me to take a minute and cool down. I'm passionate about hardware, evidently. I didn't even know how passionate I was. And then guess what, guys? Watch this.
Just stop putting your thing in all the holes.
Just sitting there. Not doing anything with them. Okay, so as you can see, this thing's gonna go on top of that thing, and then we're gonna screw into those things, and then this stuff's gonna be there. There is a forward cant, okay? If you do it the backward way, it won't work, okay? See the holes? They won't line up.
Right.
Unless if you really do it dumb, you can line it up. So we might want to put a special, no, I'm not even gonna say it. I don't want anybody else to get confused. I'm thinking of somebody in particular. Oh, goodness gracious. So if you guys were wondering, oh, sorry, these big round things ran into the mic. Hate it when that happens. So you kind of like sit there and hold these things on there, and then somehow you magically drop this in place. It's super convenient and really easy. Fortunately, I have not yet to use my tool to tighten this. That's when all excitement will break out again. Oh, ooh, look. Man, that is, I feel like there's more than one way that this could be successful. Oh, yeah, I found the hole. Okay, so just to be clear, guys, the 2mm driver will drive these. Huh, look at that. Look at that. So I'm gonna tighten one of them. Now watch this. Look. That's normal. That is abnormal. Just wanted to point that out to any engineers watching. You will have an appreciation for the slop in the hole.
I thought we took a minute on that one.
We took a minute and I got mostly over it.
Yes, this is Brian being mostly over things.
Yeah, it's about as good as it gets. So anyway, folks, if you're still reeling over the tail wheel hardware, then you're with me. You'll notice it's also now dark. It
is, but where?
We had some insane wind today. Like,
I'm not gonna be able to tell how cool the moon looks over my camera.
maybe if you would open the door.
Well.
Maybe you could just like go out there and stuff. They could see then. These, you guys are gonna be happy to know this.
What?
This hardware actually works.
Is that
Yeah, I'm serious.
very nice?
Yeah, you can tighten this.
This is the 18mm, supposedly. There's a bag of 7.
The camera crew wouldn't let me get anywhere near the nut sack and bolt sacks because she's like, I'm gonna figure this out. Avoid another conflict.
The hardware crisis of 2021.
The hardware crisis of Carbon Z.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks sweet. That looks so good. And all 6 of them, you'll note, went in without any sort of pre-stripping. It does make me sort of think that I almost feel like taking this stinking thing out and putting them. You know what's different about this too? Look at this hardware. This has a different type of pan head to it. And every type of pan head like this, Horizon,
This one. Right?
this one has had that problem. Hondo Percento. So if you're looking into somebody to fire, hopefully it's not me, then that would be maybe a good place to start. Oh yeah. That, I would like to see some fairings on there, but that does look pretty good. Look how tall it is. Good lordy, Lord. That thing is so high up there. Goodness gracious, this thing's gonna be huge. Are we gonna have to cut a hole in the wall? Oh, we have doors.
Where's this
We have-
going to live?
This, well, it's tall enough you can set it over the top of another smaller plane.
Oh, good.
Because that's the only way we're gonna have it downstairs. No, actually, when you get a big plane like this and you leave them assembled like I do, I've found that there's a nice way of kind of laying it up against the wall. And it's kind of mean to the motor, but if you lay it like this next to your cat, and you lay it on the nose, then many times you can get it to rest up against the wall, just depending on how it fits in your space. And then you can actually put quite a few planes in the same spot. Trouble is you have to have similar size planes. For me, I have sizes down to, ultra micro all the way up to, what's the biggest one? Like 116 inches or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Bird of Time. That's one of the bigger ones. Oh no, 3-meter Fox. That would be the biggest one.
Yeah.
So are we onto the motor now?
Yes.
Do you see how non-eventful that was? And that was,
It was great.
by the way, 3 times as many screws as the back.
That's true.
Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is the weird thing that I'm not used to doing. So we're gonna line up these servo plugs. Don't plug it in wrong, it won't work. Plug it in right, it will work. Okay, so red to red, black to black. Very simple, not hard. Okay. Then, do they say color for color on this? If you get this step wrong, this has an Avian ESC, doesn't it? I suppose we should probably find that out before I say it has an Avian ESC. Mm-hmm. I always feel bad when I say stuff wrong on these videos because I say a lot and there's a lot of possibility for making a mistake. So believe me guys, I actually feel really bad when I tell you something wrong. I don't ever mean to mislead you. Sometimes it's a matter of opinion, but I'm talking about like legit just coming out and saying something and oh crap, that was totally wrong. It doesn't happen that terribly often, but it does happen. So I apologize in advance. Now look how nice they've machined the pockets to receive this. Mm-hmm. Look at this. It's like, oh man, whoever designed this needs to be in charge of picking hardware from now on. Hopefully it wasn't the same guy. Would you put just a finger on there? Oh, it's gonna roll. You're gonna have to let go. It's just gonna roll. I have to stick it in the sink. Okay, I'm gonna have to lay this down like this.
We're gonna have to pick our hardware.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get the hardware. Do you happen to know what size hardware that takes? It's gonna be some big boys. There's 4 of them.
Wait, maybe it's these black. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the biggest ones. That's
Yeah.
what I meant by big boys. Did you not get that? The big boys thing? The kids laughed about something totally unrelated. I don't know if you guys could hear it in the camera. The kids down in the dungeon. Every once in a while they make noise and we have to throw them food. Maybe not quite that bad.
They have plenty of food.
They have plenty of food and snacks. They have a toilet and a hand washing station. But they're, they're kind of like on the other side of the room.
And a TV.
3 millimeters. Yes, they do have a big screen TV. Okay, so yes, the big boys. The big boys. And I know big boys. I'm an expert. Okay, so these are already thread locked with Loctite that has been set up. I want to remind you guys, do not add thread lock. It will break your plane. This will break right here. The plastic will break. But you're Brian, it's going into a brass nylock. Okay, good. How are you gonna keep that wet liquid from getting on that plastic? You're not gonna. You're gonna stick it in the hole and all that moisture is gonna go everywhere. Dang it, did I pick the wrong direction? Oh man, failed attempts at all sorts of things today.
I said nothing.
I can tell you were thinking it though. But you see this? Well, goodness gracious, now you've planted the seed that there was failed attempts at other stuff.
No, I was successful. What are you having?
Yeah, the sandwich I made was delicious today. I was just saying, don't put liquid Loctite on here. If you put liquid Loctite on this, I'm giving you 100% guarantee your motor will rip out of this thing and fly off in a totally sailor way. I'm just saying the plastic will break. 100% guarantee. Everybody that puts liquid Loctite, please sign the pledge in the comments below so that we can follow up with you in 6 weeks. It won't take that long though, because it will weaken that plastic so much that you'll probably break it off on your first flight. It's crazy, guys. I'm serious. Seriously. Okay, so you get to the points issues, people are gonna hate this. But my camera crew has worked out a deal for some chairs. And the cats are trying to eat the new chairs and claw them. And so I had to destroy the cat for doing that, which is, I went over there and moved him. So I apologize for the interruptions. Priorities.
Hey, better protect my chairs.
I know, I better protect your chairs.
Because they destroyed the old ones.
They did, totally. Totally. So I know screws. I know destroying plastic. Okay, so how did I learn this?
How did you learn this?
How did I learn this? The hard way, like most things in life.
You did?
Yes.
Really?
I got 2 different, in the course of, no, it was 3. 3 different failures in the course of about a week. And that's how I shored it up. Many of you already knew. But I had a Crescendo S, the original Crescendo S. And I had a folding prop that failed. And in the original Crescendo S, there was a pressed pin that held the folding propellers on. And then there was a motor mount and some different things that were inside of there, and they had nut zerts just like this. And I can't remember if I put Loctite on the spinner, the front end of the spinner that went over it, but either way, I ended up having my spinner blow up. And then about 2 or 3 days before that, I had a P51 nose cone that blew up on me. And I was like, what is going on here? And come to find out, it was the solvent from the Loctite that was breaking down the actual plastic to the point where it was brittle and weak.
I don't think I knew that actually. I don't remember that.
Well, now you know.
Where was I?
I don't know. I was playing with Esteban at that time. Me and Esteban were flying together. It was very fun. But I think he had the same thing happen to him too.
Huh.
Yeah, because well, I mean, like I would have been working with him on it, and then it just happened.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to give you guys a bad view here, but I'm just like turning a screwdriver
Just
here.
listening to the story.
Yeah, story time with Brian Phillips. Story time with Brian Phillips. Airs at 5:30.
Screw
5:30.
and talk at the same time.
No, well, at 5 o'clock, Brian unrelentingly complains about screws not working.
Are people going to have to timestamp your complaining?
Yes. It's like, oh, wow, look at that. I just realized that this comes off. Took all that screwing around. That is pretty awesome, guys. I literally just noticed that came off, okay? This is plastic, okay? So plastic, painted surface. Horizon, if you're listening, I know this is gonna be a big ask. Here's the old power switch that doesn't exist. Ooh, that is an Avian ESC. Yeah, baby. That means that if you hook up your wires wrong, if you hook up your wires wrong, did you know what you can do?
You just take and flip 2 of them. Well, but not with an Avian ESC.
With an Avian ESC, you just go into the ESC and you just do, and it's done. We'll show you how to do those steps in not such an obnoxious way.
Whatever.
That works pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got a snap in it. I'm a little nervous that it's gonna like lose its shape and pop off and fly it and go. That was being chopped up. But I don't think that's gonna happen because there's so much plastic around here. Oh yeah, look at that. Plastic, baby. Why is there Velcro there?
Velcro.
What the heck is the Velcro for? There must be plans for something. I don't know what the Velcro is. You see that?
They gave us Velcro.
What the heck are we supposed to put in there?
I don't know.
There's something good that goes in there?
I didn't read that far.
Didn't you know you're the document reader?
Someone was in a hurry
Listen.
to screw their
Hey,
things
listen. So I worked at a plant this week, and I met a gal who is a document reader. It's a thing. I'm just saying, it is. They also had a test kitchen there too.
I know, I didn't go there.
It was a better test kitchen than the other one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was good.
I'm telling you, at my next life.
In your next life. How about when the kids move out and you have to stop filming for me constantly?
Ooh, is that a choice?
No. Sorry, next life. Goodness gracious, how many threads are on these things?
How many more screws do you have to go?
Maybe they could like apply the savings from a shorter screw and get ones that have a 2mm drive. Oh, yes! So tight. I'm torquing them down. Don't look at me with that weird look.
Done now? I just don't know how many more stories you can tell while you're doing that.
Oh, yeah, it's tight.
Okay.
See this? Okay, now you got this big bundle of goodness here.
What are you going to do with that?
Big bundle of goodness. We're going to stick it in the hole. Lots of that happening today. This is an early release. We're supposed to be good. Sorry, Jason. We'll be good. No more talk of nuts in sacks with bolts. We're fired for sure now.
That does not seem...
That doesn't seem like I did it very good.
I seem really happy about that.
I know, it's the silicone wires are very nice, but just having trouble getting them. I'd like them, camera crew, can you just like maybe hold that right?
Wait, hold on. I can.
Hold that right there. Okay. Now I should be able to, oh yeah, buddy, look at that. Right in the hole where she likes it. Well, that took 5 seconds. Goodness gracious. Go to your home. Get in there. Get in there, wire. I don't want this wire getting in the
I
motor.
was just thinking, like, that seems...
That seems a little like,
Ew.
man, I don't want that thing to flop into a bad spot. See, welcome to my world. Welcome to my
What?
world. I don't want that thing to flop into a
good.
bad spot. Then I said, welcome to my world.
I got it.
Jeez.
I was...
Where have you
You
been?
just said...
Where?
was-
Oh, you were behaving.
I thought you actually had, like, a legitimate...
There it is. Wow, that's tight. Tight like a toiga. Where was that tightness when we were sticking the 2mm drive
Yeah,
in?
no kidding.
There it is, right there and there. Those ones are the machine ones, right? I think they're these ones, right here. Right here. That's my guess.
That seems right.
And those are not Phillips. Oh no. Oh no. It's a little scary.
They might be 2.5 by 10s.
2.5 by 10s?
But that is the right, like, shape of screw.
2mm. Nope. 1.5. Yes. Yes, it worked.
Ooh, good catch.
Yeah, I know. Do you like how I had my hand underneath to catch it? Okay, here it is. So that works. No play, no slop. Oh, yes, it fits so perfect. Here on Brian Phillips RC, making the simple complex. Mm-hmm. That
Should be hard to
and
What?
guess what? This
What?
screw has a brother. This screw has a brother.
What are you talking about?
Just watch. Watch, okay? You guys will all get it on camera. Oh, look. It already slipped once, and I'm not even purchased all the way down. Look at that. See that? Look. Look. Rtl Fasteners coming up. Let's hope that these Rtl Fasteners drivers, don't forget to buy this. Evidently you need it because I think it's gonna give me a little better purchase because yeah, that screw, it's got a baby brother. It's actually a bigger brother on the back of this plane and the tail.
Yeah, this is the baby brother.
That's number 2. Oh, this is 1.5. 1.5. Okay. All right. Did you pray yet?
That's not even one of those flat
I know.
handheld ones.
Oh, son of a biscuit lover. It also doesn't work. What are we going to do? I don't know. Let's get the standard one. Maybe the standard one will stick in this hole because it isn't a 2, it's a 1.5. So the 5/64 says it's equivalent to 2. I do not know if I have an equivalent to 1 in the standard kit. Not looking real promising. No.
Nope, not that one.
Okay, so I don't want to rehash moved on things, but I just want to remind you guys that when you get high quality drivers from Tom, you know, because everybody watching this probably, Tom, you probably sent them to them too. I want you to be aware that unless I picked the wrong size, I want you to give them a close-up of those screws. Look at them. Look. Mm-hmm. Do you see where they ended? Do you see where they stopped? Do you want to see? Go to the side here. Go to the side here. Watch this. That isn't going to work, is it?
Did we pick the wrong ones?
I don't think we picked the wrong ones. I think we picked the correct ones. We picked 100% the absolute best picks. Yep. Do you remember why you were asking me why it was such a big deal?
Okay, well, I mean.
Do you understand now?
I get it on that one.
So now we get to figure out, is there even a way to get that out? Is there a good trick that I could try to do? Here's a 1.5. Maybe I can back this one off and just take it out. Yep, this one's coming out. I'm getting it out of there. Yep, getting it out of there. Guys, I'm just going to tell you something. I can't believe I'm telling you this. Just what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take this. That does not look like it's got slop in it. The other one, maybe I just got a bad one. I don't think I did. I think it's just the... Am I not getting good purchase? You see, I can't even back it off now. Okay, so we're gonna pause and figure out a solution and come right back. Okay, so listen, I'm biting this with a pair of needle nose and I'm twisting it very carefully. Then I'm letting go, now I'm biting. I'm twisting very carefully. All we have to do is relax it enough that I can take it out with my more higher quality tool. And even then it's still gonna wanna slip. See, it's wanting to slip still. So unfortunately for me on that side, I am going to take the time to pull this out completely. You see, I've got plenty of slack, so it's not gonna be hard to get it out. It's just gonna take a while because I have to turn it like tediously, painstakingly a couple of turns with a pair of needle nose pliers. So, we're really pushing the value of watching these build videos today because we have now saved you 2 bolts worth of problems and 2 screws worth of problems. So, just take these and put them right where they belong next to your Rtl Fasteners Kit until you find the right size and then in the garbage. So, Rtl Fasteners Kit, this one's the 9155 standard kit. I know we've got a few in here that are gonna be similar size. Here's some stainless steel ones, some smaller ones. Looks like, I'm wondering if maybe these would be a similar match. They look like they're real similar in size. They're a little bit thinner on shaft size. That does make me a little bit concerned. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and use it to size up our replacement. We have metric and standard, and so I really don't care whether it's metric or standard. These ones are machined, so they're not gonna be right. So did you... Okay, so like I said, once you loosen it a couple of turns, then I can get in there and bite it with the 1.5 millimeter. So really what we're gonna do is all we need to do is basically find an appropriate replacement for those 2 screws, and preferably something that uses a similar size would be really kind of cool. So Rtl Fasteners had sent us these kits here a little bit back, and I looked through all of the kits and I'm a little bit concerned. Really what we need to do is we need to find something that bites that size, okay? In a pinch, you could just tape this thing on, and I would just tape it down here, and then possibly right here in the center. So then you won't peel this. Or if you want to put a piece of tape all the way along and then cut it with a knife if you have to access in there, which to be perfectly frank, you're only going to have to get in there if you burn up the motor. And you know, this is a well-designed plane. I don't think you're going to have that problem. Well-designed as in the screws all work perfectly. In case you guys are listening, that was a joke. This stuff is the sort of thing that you'd like to not maybe see, but you know, whatever. We live in Realityville. Stuff like this does happen once in a while. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a couple of these screws and see if either of them bite. And unfortunately, they look like they're too short to actually get purchased. So I'm gonna go to this other design, which is over here. Did this, oh, there's just a bunch of them. They're all the same. So this is the actual, what it is. It's a servo mounting screw, it looks like. So that's from Rtl Fasteners. You can see the part number there. So I'm just gonna see if that goes in there and bites. No, it doesn't, unfortunately. So because it doesn't bite, then that kind of hamstrings us into making a pick from a kit that maybe you guys don't have. Let's see if we can do this one, see if this one bites. I think the shaft size is the same though. Yeah, shaft size appears, ooh. Ooh, ooh, that one might work. And that's just a Phillips, which I'm totally fine with a Phillips. Are you fine with the Phillips?
I'm fine with the Phillips.
Better be.
Kind of stuck now, right?
Yeah, too late now. It's not good enough.
Were there, because the first screw you put in was better than the second one. Were there 3 screws? Is it possible that one of them was just
The wrong one?
bad?
Well, I guess you're right. Yeah, technically there was. Well, hold on a second here now. Was this the same bag or is that a different bag? No.
I think that's the same bag because there were
No,
3.
it's different. Look, that's a different screw. It's got a chopped end, which means it's more of a plastic style. Oh my goodness, that would be bizarre. Guys, look, see the difference? That's a different thread count and that's a different screw. Ooh, that would be the best news we've had all day. Because if that's the case, then that means that maybe we got like an early release flop here. Like they sent the wrong part. Like maybe they are already aware of this problem. Okay. See how this is going, guys? Yep, same problem. Okay, so we'll pause and come right back. All right, so after much frustration, we figured this out. Okay, this is a 1.5 millimeter drive. Okay, as you can see, it fits the hardware that we believe to be correct, according to the drawings. This came in a bag of 3. They're pointy, this one's blunt, okay? Neither of them work. They're too long. They do go in, they do make purchase, but you get deep enough that it just spins inside of the head of the screw because it doesn't have enough purchase, okay? So we went on a mission. The mission led us to this bag of 8 millimeter thinner screws that we believe to potentially be used on the spinner adapter. And we will prove it to you right now by showing you that it fits in there perfect. And comes all the way in and stops, okay? So what that tells me is that we only got 2 of those. It's possible that we will have to come up with our own spinner, screw, or something like that. But at this point, when this all goes together, this thing is gonna slide into there, just like it does on a typical spinner. And then this thing is gonna drop in. So if that meets the criteria, then we think we might have been shorted on 1 screw. Oops, wasn't lined up. Yeah, that's gonna work. Feels like it's gonna work. Okay, so that does work. So that's all held together. Now, of course, that's not the way it's gonna be permanently, but I've got that in there so that we know that it exists. So in order to resolve much frustration for you, what we encourage you to do is this. Take these 2 screws and test it on yours. Look at this, watch this. They go in perfectly to this hole. Okay, and they cinch down perfectly. And they come out perfectly. And this looks like the screws that we've used in the past, like the EC 1500. And then look how perfect this pan head screw lines up in the hole. It looks perfect. I think something got goofed up, whether it's an early release blemish or what, I don't know. All I know is that's what we're doing, and that's gonna work perfectly because we just fought this for an undisclosed amount of time. The reason it's undisclosed is because the box is in front of our time, okay? I think this will work for you too if you want. It's not a perfect purchase, and I think part of the reason why it's not perfect is because we tried using these screws first. Now, if you get yours and you want to try to get them to go all the way in with this, my recommendation is cut the tip off. That's my recommendation. So I'm going to show you how to do that using a pair of side cutters that are built into pliers, okay? I'm going to take and go back 3 to 4 threads. I'm going to hold the tip, pointing in a safe direction, and cut. Then I'm going to take and just kind of flatten the edge so that I can get that started, okay? So that should start for us. Now, because we're not getting as deep a penetration, I can take that, get alignment, and then start it. But you see, it fights me almost immediately. You see what I'm talking about? It fights me almost immediately. So what you have to do is you have to shorten it to the extent that it's, I mean, all you're doing is holding this cowl on. This cowl is not, you know, like a critical structural component here, okay? So if that one fights you, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the next one. And yes, of course, we have screws like this. So for short, this one has different thread count. It was in the same bag. Now I'm cutting that tip off. And you're like, geez, Brian, you're really committed to the solution. Trust me. See, look. I can't even spin it. Okay? So then I'm going to take, and the reason I'm cutting them is because I'm going to try to use this to hold the cowl on. So it's like, what are you going to do? So what we're going to do is we're going to use some screws that we found in our basement in our junk drawer. They came out of, in fact, these particular screws came out of a rope light bracket kit that held a rope light.
Why do you remember that?
Because I remember stupid things that don't matter, but I can't remember important things that do matter. Don't list them, please. So these are Phillips drive. So as you can see, these ones are going to go in there. Of course, it's going to fall off of there, and they appear to be stainless. Okay, so my recommendation is whatever you end up doing, okay, I'm going to take this out because I know that we're going to need it. We're going to need it for our spinner. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that out. That would work in a pinch. We're giving you guys some options. This here, we'll show you that this will line up, but it is kind of big. Okay, if you decide to do something like this, you see how it's bigger than what the provided screw is in terms of girth of the shaft. Okay, it's just barely ever so slightly bigger. If you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to get a big object into a tight hole, can't help myself, can I?
Nope.
I'm going to do this because this thing keeps rolling away on me. It's driving me nuts. See what's going to happen? It's going to eventually be difficult to drive, but it will go. You see? And you can get it down to where it's going to bite the plastic, but it is definitely hard to do that. So I'm going to show you the trick of the day. The trick of the day, guys. Okay, the trick of the day is pretty simple, but you got to be careful not to burn yourself. We are going to hold this on, and then we're going to heat it up, and then we're going to screw it in there. So I got myself a little bit bigger screwdriver that mates up with this. You might not be using a Phillips tip anyway. And I'm going to heat this up a little bit. You're like, aren't you going to burn yourself, Brian? Probably. Anything for YouTube, right? Stick it in there when it's still hot and get full penetration. Get it all the way in there and really ram it in, okay? Now relax for just a second and then back it out. Do not let it fully cool. You don't need to, you've already opened up the pocket. There's another trick to that too, and that is to take a grinder. It's toasty still. To take a grinder or a Dremel tool and cut a slot in the side, and it will actually act as a, it's kind of like a very simple tap, okay? It's not a bottom tap because it's got a pointy tip, but it'll still act like a tap. It looks a lot like a self-tapping sheet metal screw, for instance. Okay, so I found that to work well. So I'm gonna get that one, and then I guess I can use the second one. We're gonna go ahead and opt to use these screws because we do not have the rope light anymore, so I'm pretty sure we're not gonna need them. And what I'm just gonna show you, you can get them in there, okay? And you may have to do this from time to time on your aircraft. It's frustrating. This really annoys the crap out of me, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna fix it and make it go in. Okay, see, I can't get good penetration because I haven't heated this up yet. Thank you, camera crew, for stopping that. That was perfect. And then we heat this up and we do the exact same thing. We'll come back and show you how it goes together. All right, so as you can see, I cut the tip off just for extra good measure now that we've run the screw through when it was hot. And then we have a perfect finished product. Nobody's ever gonna know except that we put this crap online for everybody to watch us struggle. I also cut the tip off of this one after I heated it and worked it in there. Okay, that's pretty easy stuff. The good news is that was an easy fix. The bad news is we needed to do it. So rather frustrating. Hopefully Horizon will have this worked out before you get yours. But if not, then, you know, don't say I didn't warn you, because I did. So that's tight. And that's tight. Now, I don't want that loose. So if you decide, or if you get lucky enough that the screws that they provided work, and you don't have any issues with your 2mm drive, then what you can do is you can put tape on there to stop the vibration, because it'll make noise potentially, and that's annoying. Makes it sound cheap. Okay, so now that we're done with that, we can continue onward. So what's next, camera crew?
Are we gonna put the prop
Yeah.
on?
Is that next?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that next then. So in order to assemble the prop, pretty simple stuff. We've done this a number of times before, so we've got a pretty good idea of what we're looking at. This here is gonna go on here. There's this tapered part here that slides down. When you tighten everything, it bites onto the shaft, the prop shaft. The prop goes forward. The numbers are printed on the face. On a tractor prop, it's pulling towards you. On a pusher prop, it's pushing towards you. And the print is going whatever direction the prop is going. Okay. Also, you can tell because there's those keys that line it up with that thing. Okay. And then that helps transfer the friction or give it a nice tight fit. All right. There's the nut. Was there not a washer in here? I swear I saw a washer earlier. Is there not a washer? The drawing does not show a washer, I'm guessing. Yeah, there's not a washer on this one. That's surprising. There's usually a washer on these things. So that goes down, tightens on somewhat, and then this is prepared and ready for after we get it on to the prop shaft. Okay. So then that slides back. You get that nice finished, very thin opening, which looks just absolutely gorgeous. And then you have to get a crescent wrench or something of the sort to actually tighten that nut. Once you tighten the nut, it's going to bite onto the shaft. And then when the motor spins, it's going to spin the prop in turn. Okay, so we tighten that, just get it finger tight. And already you can tell it's not going to come off. But we made it much tighter than that. This is sharp, so be careful. Okay, somebody mentioned something about using foam to protect my hands when I'm doing this. Sorry, I already put the foam away. I was thinking of you. And yes, it is very hard to remember who said what. I apologize in advance. If you were the one, you know who you were. We talked about it.
An oven mitt.
You could use an oven mitt if you wanted. Okay, so there's that. Then the screw that you could have potentially used to hold that nose part on is going in next. Okay. All right, so now I'm just gonna give that a twist for the last little bit of torque. And it held perfectly fine with the 1.5 millimeter. Beautiful, love it. Looks awesome. All right, great. So what's next now?
I think horizontal stabilizer.
Horizontal stabilizers.
Yeah.
This thing is a beast.
It's
huge. All right, so I think we might need the plane stand for this. What do you think? Because we have to flip this up, don't we, to get to it otherwise? You know what?
It might be kind of awkward.
We could try it on the ground and see if that's, because it's so huge.
Oh.
I don't know if that's gonna work well. We'll see. Okay, so obviously we have a right and a left and then a carbon fiber spar that goes between. Carbon fiber spar goes between like this. Kind of comes in at an angle, or what seems like an angle, because the plane is straight. And this goes in at a bit of an angle, okay? Very sturdy. There's one single screw that goes on either side, and there's a nut zert to receive the screw. Should be very easy to do. And we've heard that before. And what size are they supposed to be?
They're supposed to be the 12 millimeter ones.
Like this, right? Like those guys?
I think so.
So then we can make sure they fit. That doesn't feel very promising. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so that's going to be the correct size. And that is a 2 millimeter drive, hypothetically.
Yep.
It's the pseudo 2. Okay.
Two-ish.
2-ish. So in our case, we have a counter, so I'm going to step back a little bit and just slide the spar through. Give it a couple wiggles. It slips in, looks beautiful, very easy fit. It's funny, the things that matter go so smooth. The things that don't matter, not so much. Because mounting the cowl, it does matter. Doesn't matter near as much as a horizontal stabilizer, in my opinion. Okay, slip that in, then we can push this one back through. Now I'm kind of fighting that. There we go. And then back in from both sides. Now let's set it back up yonder. Yonder! Now we should be able to get to it really easy. It's actually pretty easy to reach.
Okay. Works.
My alignment is not all the way perfect yet. So this would have been one of those builds that was just like, wow, that was easy if it weren't for
2 millimeter.
how many screws? No, those were
2.
1.5s on the front, and these were 2 in the back.
Yeah.
But you win some, you lose some, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure we're gonna forget every aspect of difficulty as soon as this thing is flying, because I have every expectation that this plane is going to be sweet. I won't be let down. To be honest with you, this plane is supposed to be one of the best flying planes from Horizon, which is weird. Like, I don't really understand that, but it is what it is, right? And I'm quite excited to see it in the air. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed that it didn't have the tricycle gear, because it's on the side of the package. Show them on the side of the package. So hopefully you guys can avoid that disappointment, because we're bringing you the full picture here. That thing does look, it looks way nicer in person than I thought it was gonna look like. I've seen it before. The version 1, I don't know if they changed it, but it's just like the paint is so crisp and clean. And they're just tight lines, and we don't see that a lot. Like right here, we can see how the 2 halves of the wing were glued together, but it's like really smooth. And I don't know. I don't think of Carbon Z planes as being especially detailed. I think of like a cartoon detail level, where it's got the right shape, it's got the right size and the scale detail, but it's not scale like the Carbon Z Cub. You know, it's like a cartoon quality to it, like the Timber, but not the Draco. The Draco is not cartoony at all, except for the pilot.
I feel like red planes don't photograph well.
Really?
And then in person,
yeah, because like this red looks terrible on the box.
Yeah, and I thought that about
Look at
the
that.
mall too.
That looks terrible.
But I love it in person.
I mean, the plane doesn't look terrible. It looks fine. But the red looks horrible.
Is weird, always.
Maybe it's just the red ink that they use to print the box.
Maybe so.
Because look how much better this red looks. I mean,
I
just
know.
look at the difference right there. It's like night and day.
It's very striking in person.
Yeah, well, maybe you ink specialists can tell us. There's a correct way to do this and an incorrect way to do this. I'm probably doing it the incorrect way, right? Do you happen to remember what was so incorrect about the incorrect way?
The didn't get that far.
Oh, shoot. I guess I'll have to give the document reader raise to the me. There was no raise. See, fortunately. Fortunately, you haven't lost much.
Fortunately, there was some.
Okay, so we'll slide this in. Let's see how it goes. Oh, I'm nervous after those screws. It's funny, we can make 3 servo leads plug in, no problem, but 2mm drive, not so much. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes! It's in! And it's holding. Just the pressure and the carbon fiber spar, which is humongous. Oh, and then these are the assemblies that go into the wing. These snap in their antennas, okay? Then these are the screws. They come in from the top, which is kind of cool and new and exciting. I'm looking forward to this. Okay, so this comes open, super easy. Love the hatch access. Look at the attention to detail here. Where was this engineer?
Yeah.
I want to know.
He was sick the day they picked screws.
Did he have COVID? Here we go. Oh man, that is so good. I love it. Okay, so just to be clear, people that have a smaller car that want a big plane. This, the Draco, carbon Z-cup, maybe, if you don't mind a lot of assembly. Oh yeah, that's good. Because really that tail feather, the tail feathers went on really easy. You can't take the vertical stabilizer off. It's there.
And depending on your car, I mean, the tails.
That went in super easy. That will come out easy too. That's good. Because antennas are always the things that you get the whole plane down and you're like, that is so cool, I love it. It's the first thing to break off.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can order replacements, but the way that they clip in and stuff is pretty good.
And antennas tend to be a pain if you're transporting.
You wanna know what that looks like?
What?
Awesome.
Oh.
It looks like crow.
Oh.
Can you tell me where, help me make sure I hit it in the hole. Oh, whoa.
Whoa, wait.
Whoa,
Not left-handed.
jeez.
Okay, you're in the hole.
It's a good thing we roll reversal. Yes! I'll come around and get it.
Okay.
We could go to the other end of the island maybe. Might make it a little easier.
I just don't want that to spin.
No, it won't
care?
spin. It's fine.
Okay.
It's not gonna spin that far. Okay, so very impressed with the way the other wing went on. Oh yeah, that's the way it should go, guys. That is awesome. And you don't even really need to push it in because this thing pulls it in. Okay. Very, very easy. I mean, I don't have especially big or small hands, I wouldn't say. But I had no problems. Show them the gap up here. See, as I tighten, I'm gonna lift the wing just to help it along. And that's like a Toyga. It's good. What the heck, if those 2 screws, those 4 screws, 2 in the nose on the cowl and 2 on the tail, it would have cut an hour and a half out of our build.
Yeah.
That is insane. You guys didn't even see it all.
No.
There was lots of things getting thrown, bad language. At one point there was cats involved. I'm just kidding, the cats weren't involved on this one. That looks so sweet. It looks like crow right now.
Hold on, I have to come over here so the sink's not in the way so you can see the whole thing.
Who put that sink there?
I'm sorry. I didn't know this was a
How did you not know?
assembly.
That thing is so dinky.
You realize you wouldn't have a battery storage spot if the sink went in the other place.
You said you can't put batteries in the sink. That is big.
Hold on, I can't even see the whole thing yet. Jeez.
That's cool. All right,
I think we
okay.
have that space downstairs.
And it's not that heavy. That's the crazy thing. Of course, if I talk about that, then people are going to expect me to weigh it. It feels too much like work. Sorry. Okay, now we have to figure out how to do the struts, the wing struts. Ooh, this is going to be awkward.
I did look at that. There are directions.
Okay, I'm going to do this like that, camera crew.
Okay.
Then I can get to it easy. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we need
Hey, what are you pointing the camera at?
the plane.
Okay.
There's a yes and a no. So there's a way that they go in.
So you don't put it in backward?
Yeah. And
Okay.
then you need a bolt and a nut for the top part.
Okay, pay attention. This is super complicated. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's right.
Okay.
Okay? That was really, like, they were concerned we couldn't figure that out?
Wait, are you supposed to put those on before you put the wing on?
Probably. Were you really?
I don't know. I'm just asking. Yep.
Oh, son of a gun. All right.
See? You rushed the document reader.
So you're saying it won't go?
I'm sure you
Hey, do me a favor. Lift up on that wing. Oh my goodness. Good thing we took the wing off and properly built it. Okay, I'm just going to tell you guys, Horizon, okay? Yes, no. Yes, no. No, no. Oh, man. It's just like, come on, man. Wait. Okay. Let go. Okay, so we're golden. Everything's in. Okay, so there are bolts on the top and the bottom. Bolts.
There's bolts on the top and there's those hairpin clips on the bottom.
Hairpin clips? Is that?
Girl, sorry. It looks like a bobby pin.
Hey, can we see what this is?
I don't know what they are.
Okay, like that? And then it goes like through here?
Yep.
From the top down?
From the top down.
Oh my goodness.
Clip on the bottom.
Wow, hold on a second. What was the plane we were complaining about these clips on the other day? Oh, that was on a plane that we haven't talked about yet. So
I don't think
we can't, it's an unmentionable.
It's an unmentionable plane.
Not yet. You'll hear about it. We just can't mention it yet. But we had clips like this, and it made me feel about like these two bolts.
We always complain about those clips, but these are so much better with the pins.
Are you kidding me? I wasn't complaining about this at all. We've had them on some planes where they work perfect. This is a great application for this clip. That's perfect. That worked amazing. How is it that you get so many things right on a plane? You know? It's like insane. All right, so now that we've got that done, we got to do up on the top. I'm trying to figure out the best angle to do this from. I'm going to lay the plane back on its mains. Yeah, that'll make it easier. Okay, so we're going to feed through from this length. Now, there was 3 of these, okay, and then 3 nuts. These ones, pretty obvious, because there's only one place where you need them. And then the other screws that are like this, but a little bit smaller, shorter, they go on the control horn adapters at the back. Okay, so these feed through from the front. And they should be pretty easy to get in there, but of course now I'm gonna regret saying how easy it is because I haven't done it yet. Oh, hey, do me a favor, lift up the wing just a hair, barely at all. What am I not lined up with? Okay, push down on the wing just a hair. Okay, wait. I'll get it now. I think I got it. Surprisingly difficult to line that up. This is supposed to be done before you put the wing on, folks. So in case you're wondering, it'd probably be a lot easier to do because then they do collapse as well. They fold flat. Yep. Man. That would have been probably smart to do. Yeah, we have them in the right side too. Okay, so there is a 2 millimeter. Yeah, 2 millimeter. Yeah, I'm just gonna turn it in. It's going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the nut is just, the You're probably not gonna get that bite like I am right now in the future. It's just that it's brand new and it's lined up just so. And you don't need a tool on the backside because it's got a, show them the backside so they can see. It's got a nut shape to it. It's hex. See, it's hexed.
Oh, yeah.
So if it's a hex shape, then you don't need a nut there. So then you only need a 2mm nut driver to take basically apart everything that's needed. You can take these wings off with no tools, actually.
Right.
Because you don't have to take this off. You can take it off and then slide it up.
Unclip it.
Of all the planes that would have taken us literally, there's a tool inside of there. Of all the planes that we could have literally taken the wing off in 10 seconds and we decided to jank up on it. That was pretty dumb. Probably should have just taken it off. We could have even clipped it out.
Could have.
We don't do that though. We only clip out the worst parts. The really, really embarrassing ones. That thing is huge. Is that built? Isn't done, is it?
What's left? I think it's done.
Radio setup?
Well,
Look, it's higher than the
sink.
higher than the sink. That's awesome. I really like the way this looks. We have to do control horns.
Do we want to mark this CG now?
Let's look at the control horns for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so the control horns, yeah, CG does need to be done too, camera crew, good point. So we have to actually put together this tail end, just these two. The wings are all done. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that, somebody corrected ours. That's weird. Yep, here it is. So you want an M2 lock, and you want an M2 8mm that goes through. Okay, so those ones are in a bag altogether. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of them too, which is weird. It's almost like they didn't know if we were doing it or if they were doing it on the wings. But in our case, the wing was done, so. Okay, so I need to get one of each. And then out of the nut sack, we need 2 nuts. Okay. So I got 4 screws here, so I'll take those. So lay them right there so you can take a look at those. Okay. Those should be 8mm long. That does seem about right. And then those are probably what, 1.5mm drives? Yep, 1.5mm. So now, okay, on the rudder, it looks like this thing goes underneath. Okay, so the push rod goes underneath. Normally, I don't actually install these, but I'm just gonna gamble on it this time. This goes underneath, so I can show you what's going on. If we have to take it off, it's not a big deal because this is gonna be pretty easy to get to.
They show screw from the bottom, right?
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if it matters.
I'm just trying to think for a second. Why would that matter?
It's gonna be really hard to get your.
I was gonna say, why would you ever do it from the bottom?
Okay.
Maybe it's easier to get the nut on from the top.
I don't know.
Maybe it's easier to inspect it, to know that the nut is not, okay. I guess, since my tool fits down here, it's not really a big deal.
I'm just here to read the documents.
Yeah, right. You sure do a lot more than that. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into the nylon, okay? I'm just gonna go to before the nylon. So camera crew is gonna help me remember to tighten that. But then if we have to make an adjustment in or out on this, on these threads, then we'll be able to easily accomplish that later, okay? I'm gonna tip this up. And I'm gonna get the other one. We'll do the exact same thing on the elevator. The elevator, it calls for that piece to be mounted from, oh geez, I can't tell.
Turn the page.
Oh, I thought that was both.
I think it's over here.
Yeah, it's mounted on the outside. It goes on the outside of this control, here. And it's in the outside position. So they want it on the bottom hole. There's 2 holes on there, they want it on the bottom one. Now this one, there's only one way to do it. By the way, this hardware is really nice. Super happy with that, considering that the rest of the build was pretty much hampered by hardware. Okay, I'm gonna use forceps for this step, okay? Then I can grab my nuts and hold them while I get that started. I'm not gonna tighten into the nylon, okay?
Okay.
I'm stopping short of the nylon. So guess what the camera crew is gonna do again?
Remind you.
She's gonna remind me. Good job. We're on the same page. All right, cool. So at this point, we're done building this. This plane is done. Nose gear installation continued. Oh, look, they show how to do the nose gear and the old style gear with wheel pants. So where are the wheel pants? Sold separately. Sold separately. So hold on. We need to probably mark, we need to update this. We can get this to our marketing counterparts. We'll go ahead and we need to add optional. Add optional. 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 Shown with optional tricycle landing gear. Optional tricycle landing gear. Okay.
We didn't read the whole box.
Who reads the box? I look at pictures. Goodness gracious. Nobody reads the box. Maybe they do.
We don't.
I don't. That looks so good though. At first I was bummed, but now I'm really happy.
Well, in our application, that's going to be super cool.
Yeah, it's going to be perfect for what we need. Look at the prop clearance still. That's amazing.
I know. That
My
thing is
goodness,
so
like it would be like
tall.
impossible. It would be like almost impossible to hit the prop on the ground while it's spinning. Look at that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wonder if Zane could do that.
Poor Zane.
Sorry, Zane.
Messed up one time.
Okay, so yeah, that looks amazing. Very happy. Can't wait to see the LEDs on. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a minute, clean up the goodies, and come right back for radio setup. So we were just getting ready to do radio setup. We were gonna mark the CG, so we got our batteries out, 7000 6S Gen 2, 5000 6S Gen 2. This thing calls out a 6-minute flight time on a 5000. I'm like, good lordy lord, I kind of doubt it's gonna be that short. But hey, we figured out something. Look, the Velcro that's on the side holds the straps out of the way. Awesome. And so weird, my safety warning fell off. I don't know how that happened. Probably from me cutting it off. Oh, and then also back here, I meant to mention this earlier, but we kind of got distracted by some screws that didn't work very well. My antenna was up here, like right there, and I was like, yeah, screw that. So I moved my antenna down here. See how it's taped on the side there? I moved that with a piece of tape and just put it there. Because I'm like, why do I want it getting trapped by this every single time that I open that lid? I'm like, yeah, no thanks. It's gonna change it. So we did. So not a big deal, but it could be a big deal if you break your antenna off. So 7000 is huge. Huge. So I'm gonna stick it in here and I wanna show you, and you guys can already see, you're gonna have to give an angle down here. You see, there's plenty of room, right? But look what's right behind that. Like, what the heck? Why are the antennas sticking up like that? Who decided to put the antennas here? Was that the guy who picked the bolts? Yes. That guy needs to go. Watch this. Watch this, guys. I'm going to do some rocket science and some brain surgery here. Brain surgery is blocking the view. Sorry, people. Then I'm going to take the knife and I'm going to cut another channel. You're like, Brian, can't you just let it be? No, not really. I literally cannot. It's like a disease. See, now I'm going to take this and run it through. Why don't you go to the other side, on my other side here. Then you can kind of see what's going on and stuff.
I can't. If you open that hatch, can I see?
No.
Okay.
I think you can just hold your hand up here. It'll be fine. Yeah, just like that. There you go. Perfect. Hey, look at that fancy dance right there. See? I'm stroking it. Ah, it's so nice. Then I'm going to take this antenna and I'm just going to, the happy antenna, I'm just going to stick it into the crack. If you can just hold still there, you'll be fine. Okay. And I cut my channel a little bit wrong, so I'll just fix my channel a little bit. See, I went a little bit too far over. Okay. So there we go. Now I can just take my happy antenna and stick it in the happy crack. There it is. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh yeah. Right there. There it is. Yay. Then the antenna popped out of the tape, I think, which is fine because there's a cavity down here, so I'm good with that. Then this other one here, I'm just gonna, this one should be a little bit easier because it's not going quite as far. I'm just being gentle. You know, just like this. Don't be ignorant. It's ignorant, Brian. Stick it in. Just sticking it in right where it needs to be. Oh, yes. Look at that. Not quite there. Okay, so there you have it. Now, when your gigantic, humongous, expensive battery goes back there, it won't cut off the antennas and then cause you to lose your gigantic, expensive, humongous battery, right?
Right.
Hypothetically. Hypothetically, of course. So all I'm doing is I'm just putting some tape over the top so that the antennae don't pop back up. And when I'm done, then all is well in the universe. And then you can slide your big honking gigantic battery back there and it'll be no problem at all. Pretty simple stuff. That being said, speaking of simple, let's go ahead and stick this battery in here. Now I am gonna center of gravity this thing out with a 5000 6S Gen 2, which has a smart lead on it, of course, and no balance plug. But you don't need that. And this thing has the smart lead on it too, which is cool because it has an Avian ESC, which is good. That means we can do thrust reverse. So if you get bored thrusting one way, you can thrust the other way. It's gonna be best. Okay. Listen. When you guys watch a video of Brian Phillips RC, you're gonna know you can thrust it both ways, and we're gonna show you how. I don't even think we're gonna set up a pilot fatigue setting on this plane though. I just don't think it's necessary.
It's different on the jets.
It's different on the jets. Yeah. There's so much going on. You're much less fatiguey. Fatiguey.
Yeah. Fatigue?
No, fatiguey. Like tiki torch. Fatiguey torch. Hey, are you gonna like show them what I'm doing maybe here, right here, this?
Giant hands are in the way.
Huge. Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm pulling the straps. Guys, just so you know, these are the medium quality straps. Yeah, I know, you're probably rolling your eyes big time, like I am. And you're thinking, how come we don't get the awesome battery tray that comes in the Carbon Z Cub? And that would be a great question for Horizon Hobbies development team. Why don't we, Horizon Hobbies development team? And then yes, that will reach. So I'm gonna show you the trick of the day. Trick of the day, right here. Look, oh, it holds it right where it's gonna be, except that the power's not applied, so you don't have to worry about chopping your doohickey off.
Jeez.
Well, it's got a snapper in it. It's not like a magnet. I know, it's aggressive. It's kind of aggressive. All right, this manual calls for a CG mark at 95 to 105 millimeters behind the leading edge of the wing. Strangely enough, 105 to 95 was not including a range.
What is the range? They just did the math for us.
Look, 95 to 105.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So I don't know if they've been listening to our
100
obnoxious complaining or if they just happened to change their mind. I'm kind of guessing the former. Okay, 95, 95, 95, 95, 95. As per usual, the cheap seats, everything seems easy when you're not the one doing it. I'm aware.
Hey, are you marking the top or bottom of the wing?
Well, why would I mark the top?
Are you gonna do it from underneath there? Oh, awkwardly? Okay. You were gonna mark the top, weren't you?
I was not gonna mark the top. I just was setting my calipers. Listen, lady. I know what I'm doing. I'm an expert. Okay, There's the first mark. Oh, yes.
Ooh,
full penetration.
geez.
Now, we're going to, and I love that tail wheel. Look at that tail wheel. Oh, that's so cool.
Wait, hold on.
You see that? Mm-hmm. Oh, that is so cool. Probably gonna save the rudder from getting ripped off too, also. I'm just doing this little shimmy here so that I don't have to reset my calipers twice. So it's 95 to 105, correct? Mm-hmm. That is a pretty big range. Okay, so I'm just going like midway. Oh yes, perfect. It's perfect. Oh boy. Goody goody gumdrops. Now 105 you say? Mm-hmm. Here we go, right to 105. It's funny, after you build hundreds of these planes, you start to anticipate where the problems are gonna be. And I would have never, ever, ever guessed that the problems on this build would have been 4 bolts.
Nope.
What the heck? And everything else has been really good.
Yeah.
Like really good. Not quick. It's kind of a detailed build, a lot of steps.
But good.
But good, like
Yeah.
not hard.
No.
I mean, well, even the annoying parts have been hard.
No.
But now that you know what we didn't know, you can do it better than we did. So 104.9 seems kind of weird. I can't help but feel like this one's range is a little bit narrower. Should be 10 millimeters, so I'm just gonna measure. That doesn't look like 10 millimeters. Looks like 5. Whoa. Let's go to 10. I guess that is about right. So there's 10. Oh yes, that's 10. Okay, so I'm gonna check the other side too for symmetry reasons. And yeah, you're probably wondering, hey, Brian, are those big inflatable tires? Not yet. How big are they, by the way? Let's show the people. Okay, so in terms of inches, because if you're talking to bro, you're talking inches. Bro, bruh, look, they're 2.3 inches. Also known as 60 millimeters wide by, there it is. Oh, buddy, it's like everything, it's all I've got. Honey, it's all I got, it's 6 inches.
Well.
It's just a little bit bigger than 6 inches.
That's all we'll have to do.
Yeah, we'll make it work. So if you're replacing these tires, a 6-inch tire is probably the size that you want if you're trying to replace them for identical look. But at this point, we're obviously going to be flying at stock, and we need to see how the CG works out. Measuring that far back on that wing is kind of, you know, it's a little tough actually, because the way that the strut is there. I hope it doesn't make it hard to test it. Okay, so I have the battery in here, and now I'm just gonna grab the plane and go back and feel for my little bumps. Okay, so on the back hole, it's nose heavy. On the front hole, it's pretty good. So I think that's where we wanna start. I'd prefer to be a little bit nose heavy on a plane that I'm not used to. Okay, then pop in the lid. We can show you where the battery ended up if you want to take a quick gander in there. As you can see, it's right where you would expect the battery might fit. It's also, to me, a little bit strange that, you know, what is this, 5000 6S? Mm-hmm. Maybe the 7000 isn't going to work. 5000 milliamp hour 6S. And I put the wires that way, okay? And then I have, oh dang it, I marked it in a stupid spot because now I can't mark my normal arrangement. See how that's like where I have it to start. Okay, so that tells me where the tail of the battery is, and then I point it this way. I'm actually quite amazed like how much that little teeny piece of Velcro really does help a lot actually. And I'm also kind of wondering if I'm going to want to put a piece of tape even though I have those side, because it's going to be hard to do that when you got your hands full of radio. on your lanyard or whatever it is you do for your radio. But I think we should try it that way and see if we're gonna have issues with it, because I don't want to put the tape on there and make it ugly. Plus you might get that kind of blown in the wind, that zzz, that buzzing.
Yeah.
All right, so at this point we're CG'd out good. We've got everything hooked up with the exception of tightening the nuts on the elevator and rudder. And so now we need to get ready to do radio setup. So the radio setup is gonna be on the NX8. The NX8 has been great. We've been able to do all the features that we want. This plane's gonna be no special. Ooh, I gotta be careful what I show. We've got some early releases in here. If you give me a second, I'm gonna scroll in and okay, so we'll click, go to the function list, scroll down to system setup, which is at the bottom, click disconnect RF right here, and then go to model select. From model select, I'm gonna scroll to the bottom and add new model. So at this point, you can walk over here and we should be able to show everything now. We'll put the 7000 aside for now. We'll try to fly with 7000, but I don't want to make any promises because it may not actually CG out. Okay, so we're going to go to create. That's an acro. If you were making a heli or a sailplane or whatever, you would do this. Okay. So create. Takes a second. Okay, then we can go to model type and verify. If you change that after you've made changes, it'll clear everything you changed out of there. Model type, model name. So this is a model name, so number 54 colon space, and then this is where it says acro, which is their default. So now we're gonna go to Carbon Z Cessna 150T for tail dragger 2.1. So we're gonna scroll all that in and come right back. So you just click, highlight, and then go over. I'm using a legacy keyboard. If you have the new style keyboard, it works a lot the same, but I just never really thought it worked as good as this. So you can switch that in your system setup on your radio. So for now, we'll come right back after we're done typing. All right, so we chose to write Carbon Z Cessna 150T. I can't fit the 2.1 meter, which I'd always put a size class in there, but I just can't fit it on this one. So then the beeps, then the aircraft type, this is where we set up the wing type. So the wing type isn't set on this screen, this page. It talks about it on this page, computerized transmitter setup. Okay. So the wing type, 8 channel and higher. Continue below for, okay, so let's see what this says. Motor reversing. Flap system. I don't really see anything too terribly special here. 1 aileron, 1 flap, okay? So the aircraft type is 1 aileron, 1 flap. The tail's obviously normal. Scroll down to this picture, you can change it if you want. Obviously you don't have to. That's probably pretty close actually. Then flight mode, I don't know for sure if we're gonna have to set up a flight mode.
We shouldn't have to, right? It's not to do forward programming.
Man, they're talking about for dual rates a 50% rate. Goodness gracious. That's crazy. I wonder if it's really that touchy. We may have to do our expo a little bit higher on this one. Well, anyway, I guess we'll deal with that when we get to it. I don't think we're gonna set the flight mode yet. I don't know. Because we don't have landing gear, so we're gonna have a flight mode for safe and AS3X, because I don't want to put it up here if I don't have to. It's easier to get to this. But thrust reverse, I think I'm going to start adapting to using this switch here. This would be flap still. I don't want to go up here for reverse. I don't want to go up here for reverse. It's too hard to get to this button. So I would say, obviously, throttle cut needs to be where throttle cut is. That's not negotiable. I have thought about at some point making a mix that turns on where forward of center is forward thrust and behind center is reverse thrust, like on a heli. But I just, or maybe be like from 25% up it's forward thrust and then below it's reverse thrust. I haven't really come up with a solution for that yet on how it's best to accomplish that, because technically requires a second channel. I can do it, I don't know if it's gonna be that helpful. Maybe on a sailplane. So for now, we're gonna use this for thrust reverse. So yeah, flight mode, let's just set it. Let's just do it. And then if we have to undo it, we can undo it. So switch one's gonna be switch A. So there's 2 modes. Okay, and flight mode 2, flight mode 3. So you can make your assignment for which mode you want it to be. See, I'm just gonna leave it in default, okay? So then after that, we should be able to walk out to the front screen. We've got the name there. We can click, go to throttle cut first. That's a really critical thing, so let's get that done. Okay, now if you see, when I move my stick, the throttle stays still. When I unlock it, it works. Okay, so we have throttle cut on. Then we have dual rates and expo. I guess we'll just do this right now because I don't want to forget about it. I'm going to set this up kind of a hybrid from what I normally do. So in the first rate, that's going to be like our high rates. I'm going to set that to 5 on the ailerons. Then I'm going to set it to like, let's set it to 10. Then I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive than I would normally go, which would be like 30 with a rate of like 85, okay? So we have rates at 100, 5% expo, rates at 100, expo at 10, and then a lot more, because I'm just afraid if they're actually calling out a 50% rate, maybe this plane is like way more touchy than I think. So that'll give me an out. But if it's not too touchy, then I'm fine here. And if it's real touchy, or if it's not touchy enough, I can go up here. Then we just replicate that on all 3. So on elevator, we'll go up here and set it to switch F. In the top setting, we'll do 5%. Then we'll go up to 10%. Then we'll go down to 30, which is a lot of expo, and we'll drop the rate to 85. Then we'll go to rudder. We'll set it to the same switch. In the 0 position, we'll set it to 5. Then we'll set it to 10. Then we'll set it to 30. Normally, I would do a progressive like 5, 10, 20. Or I would do 5, 20, 40, or something like that. But we don't really know what that value needs to be until after we've had our Maiden. So we start in the middle, we fly it, we see what we like. If it's too sensitive, we use this to get to the ground. Then we set that to our new middle. If it's still too sensitive, we set it even higher, which isn't going to happen. Let's say it's not touchy enough and we can't get it to the ground safely, then we'll go here. Then we'll set that to our new middle, and then we'll set one that's even lower, and then we'll doubly set it for this one. Okay, so we have an up and a down. So that's dual rates and expo. That's going to replace what they do here. Okay, pretty simple stuff. They do recommend throttle cut be set to -100, which is good. I'm glad that they're going with that lately. Flap system. I'm going to set it to switch B. On switch B, we can now match these settings. They suggest switch D. I don't use switch D. Switch D and switch B. The only thing that's disadvantage on my setup is that switch B is already assigned to channel 2, so we have to many times disassociate it from there, okay, and then assign it like over here or something like that. In our case, it may not be an issue. I'm not sure yet, but we are going to use reverse thrust, but we don't have a retract, so it shouldn't be a big issue. Okay, so on flap position 0, they want 100% with 0% correction on the elevator. Okay. Position 1, they want 0, and then position 2, they want -100. 24% elevator correction? Goodness gracious. Okay. I'm just glad they're telling us. Okay, so 0, 14, and 24 right there. We're going to set it to 2 seconds. On these big planes, I've found that sometimes a little bit longer correction is needed to get the plane to not balloon. If it's needed, we'll adjust it. Now, I had somebody that was suggesting that we set elevator to a trim switch, to a right trimmer. I don't know where to set that, though. I don't know what that is, linked or independent. I still haven't figured out why or how that works, because it doesn't seem to make any change. Okay, so walk out of that. Maybe that's for a future capability that we don't even have yet. Or maybe it's just something that's used in sailplanes or something, I don't know. If you guys know, put it in the comments below for me. All right, so auxiliary 2, they're suggesting auxiliary 2 is set to switch A. So auxiliary 2, switch A, is going to be the motor reversing in this configuration. I am going to be using switch A for safe, just so you guys know. I'm going to use switch G for thrust reverse, okay? So we do need to make some reassignments here to make this all work. First things first, let's go down to audio events and let's change our flight modes or switches. We're going to flight modes.
Flight mode 2, flight mode 1, flight mode 2.
Okay, so now I can change the name. This is where I'm going to scroll in. This will be AS3X for me, okay? So we'll take a second and type that in and come right back. Okay, so we changed it to AS3X. And I'm going to change this name to save. So I'm just scrolling in the words. Honestly, these extra steps add up to a lot of extra time. You don't have to rename stuff like this, but I just think it makes for a better setup. Ah, dang it. See how you did that? Double click, it clears everything beyond. Okay, so now it's going to talk.
Flight mode 1, flight mode 2, flight mode 1.
Let's change what it says. So now you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And there might be some other trick. I haven't figured out what the trick is to scroll faster. So this is AS3X, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's save.
There you go.
Where? Oh, there it is. Oh, dang it. There it is.
AS3X mode, flight mode 2, AS3X mode.
Okay, so click and scroll all the way down again. Safe is first, right?
I don't know, it's different on the...
There's self level. There's safe mode.
AS3X mode, safe mode.
Okay, so that's set up. And then we need to go to monitor mode. So I'm going to click out,
AS3X mode.
scroll over one screen so you can see it still there, which is really nice. So that's moving the gear, and that's what's going to designate our flight controller, our
AS3X mode, safe mode, AS3X mode, safe mode, AS3X.
So now she's going to keep talking like that for a minute. That's going to designate whether or not safe is on.
I'm getting a glare.
Oh, sorry.
There you go, that's better.
So then here in a second, we're going to make our assignment here. We need this to be assigned to a switch, to be assigned to something like what flaps are. Flaps are on flaps, and then auxiliary 2 is also attached to B. So we need to unattach that and make that disassociate. So we're going to walk out. We're going to scroll down to system setup, disconnect RF, scroll down to channel assign, and then we can go down to channel assign. Auxiliary 2 is going to be on G. All right, so we have G assigned there. So we'll walk back out, then we'll scroll back over to the monitor mode. And as you can see, now our flaps move and our elevator correction moves. But auxiliary 2 doesn't move when we do that. So now auxiliary 2 is going to move when we move the switch here. Okay, so that's pretty simple stuff. Timer's cleared. We need to set a timer for 6 minutes. Timer, sorry, you good on glare? Mm-hmm. 6 minutes. 1 out is active. 1 minute is going to be nothing. 20 seconds will be nothing. And then countdown will be voice. Expiration will be tone and vibrate. And then tone every minute next. Okay, now we can walk out. So now when we start over 25%, it starts counting down. Over here, we're going to have thrust reverse, which we have to make an assignment through the AVNESC. We'll show you how to do that. Then we have flaps over here, and we're going to have safe here. Okay? Sorry. She's just too annoying. I'll put her 5% so I can make sure I can hear it. Okay, so now that we have all that done, now we need to go through the binding procedure. Now, the binding procedure is pretty simple on these new ones because there's a push button. It does come with a plug. I don't really know why they do that, but that comes with a plug. The transmitter needs to be so far away from the receiver, but we always try to show it, and so that causes some problems for us. Also, this is a big enough prop that you could actually get hurt on it. So this is where, if you're concerned even remotely, you should take the prop off, or just don't put the prop off in the first place. Now, to get to this receiver, you can take this hatch off. Super easy to take off. It just lifts out. It's got a clip on here. And if you look down in there, you can see where the receiver is. Okay? Also, I need to pull off the hood, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna lay this stuff in such a way that if the prop would start, it won't cause a massive problem for our life, okay? So I'm gonna see how I can reach. I can definitely reach in there, I can definitely hit, and I can definitely have my hands out of the way to be safe.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't need to do anything with that on the first plug-in if it's not bound. So I'm gonna turn off my transmitter by pressing and holding the button. Once it's powered down, the RF light goes out, then you should be safe to do. Throttle cut is on, not that it matters because we're just doing our virgin bind. Now this, you'll notice that where my arm is, if that prop started, it would be probably bad because either the ESC would overheat and burn, catch on fire, or it would cut me really bad. I'm guessing it probably would burn the ESC. That's what would probably happen. So you need to be very mindful of this, but just keep in mind, at some point, you're gonna be a little bit vulnerable on some planes and you need to be prepared to deal with the risk. Okay, this is where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna put my body in such a way that I'm safe. Okay, I'm safe, I'm not gonna get hit if it starts. I can literally let this battery run out. Okay, as you can see, it didn't start. The reason we do this stuff is because we err on the side of being safe until we're proven we have good regard for the plane, okay? This is obviously making noise. You don't have to worry about it yet. When I press this button, it's gonna start flashing. Hands in a safe spot, securing the plane. Flashing light started flashing. Okay, camera crew, can you see? Can you maybe like show them inside there? See how the light's flashing? I believe you're supposed to hold that the whole time while you're binding in safe select. So I've already screwed it up. What are you filming over there?
Well, I can't see in any of the spots.
If you stand here, can you see?
No.
You can't see in from the top from there and be safe?
I'm pretty close to the prop, so I was trying to stay back.
Okay, can you see?
No. Okay.
All right, so you're safe there. All right, so plugging in the power again. Now, I have to do this in such a way that I can keep my body in a safe spot, so I found that it's actually quite easy to do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to get my finger ready to press that button. Sorry, I just hit my mic, folks. And I'm in a spot where it's not gonna hit me if it starts. So, pressing and holding. Now I'm pressing my bind button. Now I'm pressing the power button. And I'm gonna hold, and now I can let go of this. I'm still holding the bind. You see how it says bind failed? Okay, now I can lay this down. Click, scroll down to bind, and hit bind. Now I can hold it away, binding DSMX, and it snaps to life. Still controlling the plane, keeping myself in a safe place. Auto configuration has come up on the screen, and you'll notice that it's not running the prop. Now we should be safe to go ahead and get out of the way. Those digital servos are noisy, holy goodness. Did you hear 2 dances or 1?
Yes, 2.
2 dances. Let's show the people what that looks like. Again, going in a safe spot. This is not a safe spot. I gotta come from the other side. Elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, rudder left, rudder right, take off flaps, landing flaps. Very cool, throttle cuts on. I'm gonna secure the plane and turn off throttle cut for the first time. Throttle cuts back on and tested. So we're safe.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Throttle cuts on. Listen. Dance. Dance. If you have this initiated with AS3X only, it will dance once. If you have it initiated with Safe Select on, it'll dance twice. The default condition is safe on with Safe Select. You have to then assign a switch to turn it off, or it will be on all the time. So if you have a transmitter without enough controls, but you want safe, and you're not really prepared to fly out of safe, then just have safe on all the time. I would not recommend that, by the way. I would recommend learning to fly with AS3X because you're gonna enjoy the experience a lot more, or get more channels, because safe on limits your ability to go up steeper, down steeper, roll, and there's times when you need to get out of a tough spot. I don't want you to crash your plane because of it. Okay, so elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, rudder left, rudder right. Everything is going the correct direction. The flaps are awesome and huge. Very happy with everything there. So the only thing that we don't have tested is safe. Okay, so I'm sure it's not set up. But let's test. It is on. As you can see, the ailerons are going to try to find the quickest route to level. That means safe is on. So our next step is to make an assignment so that safe can be turned on and off. Now, we found out a trick on another plane, but we're gonna try this the old-fashioned way. Throttle cut is on, by the way. Sticks down and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There, it worked. Okay, so this plane, it did work. The last time we had to go into forward programming and actually make the assignment in there. I don't know why, maybe it was a fluke, but either way, we had to do that. That's because we set up the transmitter as a plug-and fly, didn't we? So now safe is, AS3X is supposed to be on, but I need to flip my flight modes. Okay, so now AS3X is probably on, and there's two ways to tell. Move a control, go in and out of safe. The larger movement is probably going to be out of safe. Elevator, see which one's bigger? That one?
That one.
That's out of safe.
Yep.
Okay, so when I flip the plane, it's not going to move the ailerons. This plane is so big, I about hit that light fixture.
Yep.
Did you notice?
You did, and you almost hit it
See?
before.
Not finding the quickest route, finding the quickest route. Not finding the quickest route. So I need to flip my switch condition. So let's show the people that real quick. So I have this labeled as safe, but it's actually backward. That's AS3X. You need to flip that. Yep, that's AS3X, and it's labeled as safe. Now, how do you fix that? You just go in here, servo setup. We're controlling the gear channel. So scroll over to reverse and then switch gear, okay? Now it says safe, AS3X. AS3X gives you more throw than safe. So we have it right. Okay, so that part's taken care of. So we have safe turned on. We have AS3X turned on, but it's not active until you give throttle over 25%. So we're not gonna see any sort of behavior from the AS3X until such a time as we actually give throttle over that level. So the next thing we need to check is thrust reverse. So we're gonna put this down on the ground in the living room because this thing is huge and it's big. Okay, so we've got it down on the living room floor. It's where everybody sets up their thrust reverse. Mm-hmm. Those lights are so bright on the front, awesome.
They're all bright.
Okay, so as you can see, we're going forward. And when I turn on my throttle cut, I'm gonna switch to the reverse thrust and nothing happens. And you're like, but wait, didn't you set it up right? I didn't set it up at all yet. I'm gonna show you how to do that now. This is a different function. We have to scroll all the way over into the Avian programming. You cannot do this if it's been on for more than like 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna do it here just for safety reasons. So at this point, we have to go ahead and pop the hood and we have to de-energize and re-energize. So we do have some time, so don't freak out. You've got a little bit of time to work with it, okay? So plug it in, let it dance through the safe setup. Okay, camera crew, you wanna sit here? So now we're gonna go low throttle, left aileron. Low throttle, up and left aileron. Now, up and right elevator, or right aileron. Now we're in. So it talks about the different types of wings. The brake type is disabled. We want to change that to reverse. That's not all you have to do, by the way. See, I'm using the controls and the plane is still responding. That's how it's getting the signal into there to program the Avian ESC. This is where you could change your rotation. Our rotation is correct already. Channel 7. I think we're already on channel 7, aren't we?
We didn't look, I don't think.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go back out of that menu. So, just to be safe, throttle cuts off. Oh, we're still in the programming menu. Okay, there we go, there we go. Exit with save. So if I go to this, see how it says channel 8, channel 7, channel 6, channel 5, channel 9. Okay, so it's channel 5 through 9. So I think 7 is what we want. And then exit with save. Okay, now we're exiting the menu. You can hear the ESC arming. Throttle cuts on. Scroll back to the regular screen, clear my timer. Nothing happens, that's what we want. Throttle cut is off. As you can see, it's going forward. Now, when I flip the switch, still goes forward. See, that's auxiliary 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's forward, and that's reverse. That's reverse, and that's forward. Okay, throttle cuts on. So I want reverse to be when it's pulled all the way toward me, okay? So I'm gonna go into another setting that I haven't done yet. Digital switch settings. Okay, I have my throttle cut on, my stick is down. So I'm gonna select G. Okay, so now you can set what position you want the behavior to be. So these positions, position 0 is currently how the electronic speed control knows to be running reverse. So reverse, reverse, and then forward. Okay, so I need to switch these conditions.
Or 5%.
5%, we should be fine. Okay, because we're almost done. So there we're gonna go to minus 100. We're gonna set the middle position to minus 100. And then this one, we're gonna clear it. Trying to scare the cat. So now I'm gonna go plus 100. You see that cat playing with the prop? He's gonna get scared here pretty quick. Okay, you gotta move, cat. Move. Move, watch out, it's dangerous. Okay, so now we're gonna be real careful and we're gonna secure the plane. Watch out, guys. Goodness gracious, you dummies. Okay, throttle cuts off, sticks back, that should be forward thrust, as it is. Now it goes to reverse thrust when it's forward toward me. And when it's the other way, it goes correct. When it's in this middle setting, it also goes forward, okay? See, it's forward, or it's reverse. Okay, throttle cuts on. Okay, very good. All right, so that takes care of that. That was pretty easy. I'll go back in and show you that one more time. So the switch select, go over to switch G, and then we did minus 100, and plus 100. You can also switch the output of the condition by changing. You can reverse auxiliary 2, and that would reverse the condition. Okay, so there's that, guys. So that's everything. This whole thing is ready to fly. It is totally set up. It is totally gigantic, by the way. Look at how big this is. This is awesome. I'm super excited to see this thing in the air. Not only does it look sweet, hold on, let's get some flap action here. Oh yes, that is so cool. Big old barn door flaps. Huge throws on all the surfaces.
We need to tighten those.
Yep. So let's look at these surfaces right quick before we run out of time. And if we do run out of time, guys, if you haven't already, definitely check the links in the video description below. You can buy this exact plane for your very own. You know what to look out for, what's gonna be problematic for you, and that would be the 2 screws on the bottom here, and then the screws on the cowl. The cowl. So, I mean, really, oh, wow, that's like already lined up. That looks so perfect. I can't believe how good it looks already. Oh, by the way, white light and beacon. That is so cool.
And I think on,
Wow.
did you see here? You're gonna be able to see that color through those white strobes on the tips too. On the
I think we're really close. If anything, we might need to go. Show them above here. You see this? I think we're really, really close. We might need to come over just a hair. And then make sure you're not in safe when you're doing this setup because it's gonna try to level the plane. Our elevator is so dang close. So I think we might just take a minute off camera and take care of that because it's like 1 turn on each one. And all you have to do is just pop out this horn, just like this. Let it fall down. Let your nuts go all over the place. And then I'm just gonna come out 1 turn maybe. So there's 1 full turn. And then slide it back in, and then you'll be golden, and the thing will be centered where, is that supposed to be on the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. Those servos are so noisy.
They are. It's right behind you.
All right, guys, so you get the idea. That's all the more you need to do. I know you've already seen this thing fly, and so we always appreciate you sticking around and watching the builds. Hopefully you learned something. If you haven't already bought this plane, like I mentioned earlier, if you buy from the links, you'll help support us, support our channel, and keep us running. So we really appreciate it with the financial supports. Then you don't have to pay us anything. These guys pay us a small commission when you buy the plane for the regular price with all the coupon codes and all that good stuff that you would normally use. And obviously you get your RC bonuses and things like that at all the different brands that we work with. But in this case, this is gonna be really cool. It's a big one. 5000 6S is a big battery. That's gonna be cool. I can't wait to show you. I'm super excited to see this thing fly myself. I'm sure you guys already saw it and it was awesome. It speaks for itself. But at the end of the day, the little bit of problems we had on the tail dragger mechanism and on the cowl adapter, it just doesn't even compare. I mean, you get a plane like this, you put it together, you spend an extra half an hour fighting something like that. It's not a big deal. But this plane at the end of the day is gonna be amazing. Also, if you want the landing gear, you can order the landing gear. All right, YouTube, sorry, camera ran out. So as you can see, everything is lined up. All these surfaces are straight now. We had to adjust this aileron, and in turn, I had to then adjust my flap on this side so that we were even. If you show them down there, it's clear. We've got a perfect match on both sides. There isn't a good reference here because of the way the window is designed on this plane, but just remember to check that out. My left wing, I needed to move it about 1/4 of an inch. It was a pretty big adjustment. The elevator and rudder were almost perfect, ironically, and we had waited to secure the nylon part of the nylock, and then we got this lined up so you can show them here where it's basically flush now on both sides and even, okay? And then same with the rudder. I did notice the top half of my rudder has just a little teeny bit of a deviation, so I don't know if maybe it's the vertical stabilizer or if it's the rudder, but it doesn't really matter. The point is you want those to be square and true so that you kind of split the difference. And I did try 1/2 turn both directions, and I felt like this was as centered as it could be, keeping in mind that once you get in the air, you're gonna be trimming this thing anyway. So once you're all done, you get everything tested, you make sure everything is working appropriately. I did notice that this flap got pushed tight into the joint, by the way. It's tight, like it can't go any higher. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys watching this build. The radio setup is really helpful for a lot of you guys that are new to doing the radio setup on the NX8 or the NX lineup. We've been super happy with the NX8. If you haven't already bought one for yourself, I highly recommend it. In terms of the battery, the smart packs have been very good to us. I trust that you will have already seen from our maiden flight that the 5006S goes a lot longer than the 6 that they recommend, but I'll stand corrected if that's not true. Either way, for now, very happy with this plane, very annoyed with just a couple of bolts that we had to deal with. Not probably a deal breaker by any means, but at the same time, now that you know what to look out for, you can avoid some of the conflicts we did have there. But that being said, buy this from the links below. You'll help support our channel. We have the Patreon set up. We had our first month and a half or so of that, and we've been supported by, it's like 13 or 14 people have been supporting us. So that's super cool to see that that's happening. Obviously it's not like lots of money, and we don't expect that from 13 people anyway, but you know, when there's 1,000 people or something like that, it'll really help to supplement the income. And obviously we're working on many big goals, and the big goals have to do with having more time to deliver better and more content for the channel. So we really appreciate you guys being part of that. If you don't like monthly giving, we totally get it. There's also PayPal, and the fees are really high on Patreon. So we're not thrilled about that, but we just wanted to open up that opportunity. The best way to support us is to buy the planes from the links that we provide. It costs you nothing. It costs us nothing. Basically, everybody wins in that equation, especially the people that are sending us lots of these planes, because there's no way I could go out and buy 250 planes in the last 5 years. It would not make sense. I mean, you'd have to just be loaded to buy that many planes. So that being said, we really appreciate the people we work with. Horizon's been great to work with. We work with a variety of other companies. We always tell it to you straight, case in point, the bolts here. But that's why you watch Brian Phillips RC, is so that you can get the full story and get some help along the way. If you're new to the hobby, obviously you're in the right place. We're gonna help bring you from where you are now to where you wanna be. And if you're further beyond us, then you can watch us stumble and mumble and fumble our way through and enjoy a good laugh. But in the meantime, stay tuned, much more to come. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got something new and huge. What do we have here? This is a tail dragger. Welcome to the club. This is the Carbon Z Cessna 150T for tail dragger. Yes, this comes equipped with the AR-637 TA, and yes, it does come equipped with an Avian ESC. Don't forget, with the Avian ESC, you can do this. Oh yes, that is so cool. And yes, you'll want to be careful about the tail wheel. It likes to kind of spin around like a weirdo. Takeoff flaps here. Obviously this thing will do just fine on grass, but we're going to take off here. It's got some power. Look at that thing. Insanity. Flies like a daydream, even in the crazy wind. We have some crazy wind today. Look at that thing getting buffeted. AS3X has that thing locked in. Full landing flaps. We're going to see if we can put it down here. A little bit of reverse thrust for extra slow down effect. And yes, we do have lots of wind. When you build your plane, a couple of things. We had some trouble with the tail wheel mount on the beam that goes on the tail wheel. There's some hardware that doesn't quite fit a 2mm drive. You'll need to be careful to avoid problems with that. And then also you're going to want to watch out for the nose cowl. When you mount the cowling, you may have some issues too. If you want to watch our build, we'll come up with some solutions and share them there. Also, use thin CA on your tail. You have to install the rudder, and you're going to want to. Man, look at that thing. So beautiful. Camera crew, you want to come back about 10 steps for me? Perfect. Man, this thing just does it all. It's just super, super capable plane. We are flying in some pretty good confused winds here. Check this out. Oh yeah, you just got all the power you need, and then safe. Safe is on, got a 15% throttle. Very good limited bank angles, flying into some heavy wind there, and safe is still doing just a great job. Let's go up. That's the limit on safe up. That's your limit down, that's your limit right, that's your limit left. Look at those bank angles, guys. If you're gonna fly safe, this plane gives you a lot of flexibility. You got built-in flaps, optional flaps as they would call them. Yes, you can set this up with the nose gear and the tricycle configuration for your landing gear, but you do have to buy that stuff separate. It does not come with it. I was a little disappointed to hear that because I never got the one as a tricycle and I really liked it. So I guess at this point, I can still add that later and maybe I will. Take off flaps deployed. Look at that beautiful thing. Full landing flaps. Let's see how we do in the wind here. Don't like that, I'm just gonna go around, or straight up if you will. Guys, this plane, it boasts a 6-minute flight time. I think we do better. That's on a 5000 6S 30C Gen 2 Smart Pack. Obviously, we have gotten a lot longer flight times on some of our big boys like the Carbon Z Cub and the Beaver. I think the latest, we were flying 7000 6S on the Carbon Z Cub and we were getting about 26 minutes of flight time, which is insanity. And yes, I'm not being nice to it the whole time. Check this out. I just love the way the red pops. It's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. About 10 steps forward for me. There we go. Take off flaps. We're gonna see if we can cruise around and just make it look like a nice scale Cessna flying in a hurricane. Do you see the shadow on the trees? Mm-hmm. That's so cool. Remember, you gotta respect the size of this aircraft, folks. It is not a dinky dink. It's a big one. And when you go from dealing with dinkies to big ones, not only is it exciting, but it'll bite you if you're not careful. Oh yeah. Absolutely beautiful. You can hear the digital servos from the ground. Are you kidding me? Those digital servos literally sing a song when it sits on your counter. Tractoring the prop so it looks cooler. I'm not a big fan of the braking when I'm flying around, but you can always set that with some trims and fancy mixing if you want to. Take off flaps, landing flaps. We're gonna go straight up here out of the bowl. Got to keep a little wind across your rudder there if you want to turn it around in a stall turn like that. Yes! Oh man! Guys, if you realize just quite how insane the wind is right now, you would be giving lots of credit to this plane because it deserves a lot. I want you to go up about 15 steps toward the front of the runway there. Perfect. And then if you can take kind of the central crack there. Perfect. Right there. Good enough. We're gonna try going under the lines here. It's just a little bit crazy right now. Take off flaps only. As you can see, a little bit of correction there. Boy, that thing looks so gorgeous. Try to stay out of the camera crew's way there. Full landing flaps here. We'll see if we can do a steep approach for you. A little bit of slip involved, watching out for the trees. Don't need to end up like other planes. Grass ops are absolutely gorgeous. These wheels do great on grass, but the tail wheel does tend to get bound up if you try to back up. So be aware, there's 2 springs. You want to be very, very mindful of that. If you're doing backing, even on asphalt or pavement, you're going to have some trouble. So I want to warn you about that. That's our 6-minute timer, by the way, folks. Last time we flew 6 minutes. This is our second flight. We had some problems with our rudder because the glue I used failed. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So anyway, thanks be to Dynam. Hey, I didn't even think about that. That was Dynam glue, Megan.
I know. You didn't think about that till just now?
Oh, well, if you guys watch the Unbox build and radio setup, as you know we always do, after our maiden flight, then you will be able to see just like we did. Now this has the Avian ESC, so you do get full telemetry and full feedback on your smart pack if you're using one. Little slip involved there. But I just want to let you guys know that we are not going to push it too far. We're probably going to go to about 8 minutes. I think we're there now, so we're going to try to take a landing. The wind is pretty incredible, so we're having to be in the power a lot. There's our takeoff flaps. I'm going to be prepared with reverse thrust just in case. I want to try to take this landing here. The wind's at our nose right now. Coming in, just gonna let it stall. Just using a little bit of slip action here. Kind of walking it back and forth. That was so terrible. I'm not taking that. Let's check our voltages though while we're on the ground. Boy, that thing looks good. The red is just popping. Okay, throttle cut's on. Let's check our voltages quick. This is gonna be terrible for exposure. I'm gonna try to keep it in the shade. We're in 1 minute and 39, 1 minute and 40 over. Looks like we got plenty of power to go ahead and take it around so we don't end on a terrible voltage. Well, 3.8 is probably about right. But we're still gonna take it back up, guys. I wanna do one go around or two. And if you could come over here to the center. All right, good deal, guys. We're gonna go ahead and back up, get us a little bit more runway. Obviously, you don't need tons of runway because this is a STOL aircraft after all. But just be real nice. You see what happened to my gear there, guys? It flipped around the other way. Don't know if I'm doing something wrong there. Oh yeah, she'll get off the ground real quick out of the flaps. That's 100% throttle there. Seems to be a lot less efficient than the Carbon Z Cub. I think it's a little bit heavier. It is about the same size, 2.1 meters. No flaps here. Boy, it sounds loud when it goes by with no prop. Okay, we're gonna come around over the top of the tree line from the bull and then down, okay? Kind of the same flight pattern we've been doing because of the crazy wind. Look at that thing buffeting. Okay, here we go. Full landing flaps. We're gonna try to slip, lose a little bit of altitude, and we are grass ops. There we are. As you can see, the grass ops look super realistic. Love the way it looks, but man, look at that tail bounce, folks. You gotta be careful. This thing will get away from you on that tail wheel. So, in closing, not that this is the closing for this plane by any means, you do need to be prepared to deal with some fiasco type behavior on that tail. Those two springs help to change a very strange geometry, and we're gonna bring it back here and show you what we're talking about here. The front landing gear are super robust, super solid, very easy to put together, absolutely no problems, and there's 6 screws. However, the back gave us some problems in the build and some problems in use, and we're gonna show you that right now. Just like the Carbon Z Cub, the middle of the wing it's hollow, and so when you pick it, you gotta be careful. Show the people the springs on the tail.
Let's see if I can make sure I'm...
You see that? That is, I'm gonna actuate the rudder. See how it works? Looks really cool on paper, I'm sure. But when you get it out here in the real world, and you've got real grass, and you've got real rocks, and real rough, it is definitely a factor. It stopped making noise.
It did.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, love the way it flies. The windsock does not tell justice of what's going on.
Not at all.
I don't know if you guys can tell this, but sometimes the windsocks, they just don't articulate what's going on up in the air. It's very turbulent. It's very upset wind is what I like to call it. I don't know if that makes sense to any of you. I think people call it unsettled. But like if you look at this one tall tree, it's like a cotton, what is that thing called?
I think it's a cottonwood.
Cottonwood, and then look at the tree next to it. It's just swaying, it looks like nothing. Then all the leaves are moving, and then the oak over here, all the leaves are set up like this. They're wider on the bottom than they are on the top. They're darker green. So, but then you see the grass, it's kind of going in all directions. And then you see the corn, but then you see the windsock and it's just a limp.
Yep.
And you're like, what's wrong with you, windsock? Do your job. So I think what happens is you get certain pockets of area where there's no wind. And what happens is the way that our geography is here, we've got ups and downs and tree lines. And you know, like the bull in particular, you'll get this low pressure system there and it'll do weird things to your plane.
And it comes around the house weird when it's coming from a certain direction.
Because it's coming this way, and then earlier it was coming that way. Makes for a very challenging flight. Look at this, look at this. This cat is very ballsy, guys. The cat is checking our propeller for damage. Thank you for doing the post-trip inspection.
The ground crew.
Yes, that's right. It's very excited.
The boys are super into this one. I don't know.
I know. I don't know why they like
cats.
it, but they love it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So without further ado, guys, this cat loves this plane. I love this plane. But what I don't love about this plane is very obvious. The tail dragger configuration is sweet. It looks cool. It works well for stole performance, and it's going to be good for taller grass that's less well manicured than you might expect from the nose gear and the regular standard mains that are going to have wheel pants. Now, there are pockets ready to receive those landing gear, and they give instructions and some hardware to adapt the old style landing gear to this. And yes, they are optional equipment that can be purchased, and then you can go ahead and install them on here. But just remember, there's going to be some effort, and you need to know that it's not like you just drop it in there. You got to take some stuff off, you got to put some other stuff on. And I tend to kind of be a sucker for tricycle gear, but the wheel pants always stop from doing good grass ops, in my opinion. The wheel pants always, they like to catch crap, and then sometimes they'll get kicked a little bit to the side, and then they'll bind the wheel, and next thing you know, you're flipping your plane to the side. So my experience is that if you're gonna take your pants off, you're gonna be better about going straight down the path. And you can see with these Tundra tires, that's what it comes with. It works really good. Very happy with the performance of the Tundra tires. I did notice that we've already loosened our right landing gear. We're gonna have to tighten those screws, which is surprising to me. The screws go through a decorative plate and then hold the steel on. The steel are separate, so the left and right wheels are separate. Now, at first thought, I said, okay, no big deal. On second thought, I'm actually happy about that, because if you have a toe in or toe out configuration issue that you're trying to fix, you can actually loosen and correct it. Whereas with an aluminum single piece gear, I feel like it's much harder to straighten them. So these are steel, I believe, and they are very sturdy. I didn't have really great landings on this. In my last flight, it was even more insane on the wind. But at the end of the day, is the plane great? I think it is great. I think it's capable of more greatness. I think we're gonna have to be a little bit careful the way we treat this because of that tail dragger. I think it's a cool thing. The steel strut, or whatever you wanna call that holds the wheel, is awesome. It's super strong and it gives a little teeny bit. So I like that. Do I like the springs? Absolutely not. Probably the weakest part of this design, as it was with the, what is the crop duster?
The
Air Tractor had the same thing. Who else had that?
There was one other one that we
Was it the Cirrus SR22T? No.
No.
Might have been like the way that we adapted the floats on another plane was similar. That would have been the Timber 1.5, the original Timber. I think all the Timbers use that same design. They have a spring return on the water rudder.
Oh.
And so
Yeah.
then it's adapted that way. But I'm thinking of another plane too. Was it the Mall? I can't remember.
No, that's not
It's
spring.
another plane.
Yeah.
But either way, there's other planes that have this design. Now, in a controlled environment, on a really, really well manicured grass field, I think you're gonna have a problem. Where you're running into problems is when you do thrust reverse, okay? So going forward, no problem. It works fine. It looks sweet. I love the way it looks, by the way. And getting that geometry to reach way out there like that is just super cool for stability. Now let's do some grass ops. This is rough right here, guys. No problem getting through it, but the problem you have is once that tail wheel bounces like that, I'm full up elevator. Look how wonky it gets. It starts getting to turning, and then you get on a windy day like today, you don't want that 16-inch prop. Is it 16? You don't want that. I might be misspeaking here. I think it's a 16.7 prop. You don't want that thing to just like bounce the wrong direction, right? But as you can see, ground handling is a little bit delayed and a little bit strange because those springs allow for play. I'm thinking the way I might try to resolve that is possibly as simple as making an end stop to prevent the wheel from going any further than X, or taking the springs out and just doing a fixed rod on one side and then the spring on the other, or something like that. And that would be fairly easy. We could even take, you know, like a ball joint on either end, and then we can get that really tight, crisp maneuver that we're expecting. The problem you run into there is then when something gives, it's gonna be the rudder. And the rudder on the bottom that has that weird geometry going on. So let's show you what I'm talking about here. You see how the bottom, it swings free, guys. It swings at a different angle. It looks so cool and so realistic, but I just have a strong suspicion that those springs are not gonna hold up well over time. So anyway, you come to Brian Phillips RC for reviews, and this is what we're doing here. We're gonna tell you what we think about this. It's sweet. I like all sorts of things about it. We did not like putting 4 bolts in on the build. Every other part of the build is amazing.
Yep.
You can take that wing off in 2 minutes. You can take the antenna off in 10 seconds. You can put that thing in a car. You don't even have to take the horizontal stabilizer off. It's not really that big. The vertical stabilizer is built in and integrated, and the tail's glued. You do have to glue on the LED cover, and then there's a piece of tape that covers the wire going back. Wasn't a big fan of that, but it's not a big deal. These things are so huge. I mean, this box is gigantic. So you'll see that in the unbox. But in terms of well done, really good finish, bright LEDs. We're gonna try to get a darker flight, obviously, like we usually do. I think we're gonna get some calm before evening tonight when this crazy wind calms down. And then we can go ahead and get you some more footage with this, and the sunset will help us to showcase those lights. And we do have an anti-crash beacon on the top. You can see it kind of pulsing there, beautiful. And then on the tail, we have a white light, something that I've been screaming for years. On the wingtips, we've got the anti-crash strobes, and we have red and green nav lights, so very good. On the nose, we've got 2 forward-facing LEDs. Amazing lighting. Doesn't do much justice in this bright. I mean, the sun is out right now.
Yeah.
So
Not a cloud.
everything about this plane is great except for 4 bolts, and we've got 2 springs that maybe are not quite there. So otherwise, great plane. Love it. Definitely worth the effort. This is not one of those planes where you get it and you're like, it's not worth that little bit of effort to figure out what's going to work in your application. Also, if you're getting this for the tricycle configuration, I haven't ever flown it, so I can't speak to how great or terrible it is. I would assume it's great. But there is an oleo and spring return on that nose gear, so I'm guessing it's an expensive option. And as you may have noticed, things are not cheap right now. That's because everything is expensive. So we apologize for that. It's just kind of the way it is right now, which sucks. But I love that plane. It's gorgeous. It's worth a little teeny bit of effort to get it where we want it. And also, just full disclosure, I want to show you one other thing we had to do. This is something you won't have to do if you use the right glue at the right time and you don't have a failure like we did. Right here, we used some, this is a bamboo skewer, bamboo skewer. Then this is a
Toothpick, just regular
toothpick. And what we did was we drove those through the wing to capture and keep that hinge from wanting to slip out. It seems to have worked. We weren't super nice to this plane on the flight, but if you guys have the same type of situation we did, where you think you got it glued and it, I mean, if you ever put one of these together, it's a very stressful situation because once you glue it, you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4 hinges you got to glue. You got to get them all lined up, and it never seems to go as good as you want. In our case, we used a medium CA. That was our mistake. We should have used thin CA like it said in the manual, but I've built 2 carbon Z-Cubs, and I did the same thing and had no problems. This one I had problems because once I got it in, I thought everything was hunky-dory. Normally you put them in dry and then you put thin CA and it wicks into the hinge, much better joint. Just get the CA. But if you're ordering this plane and your old CA is thick, just order new CA. I'm telling you, if it's 10 bucks or 15 bucks for the CA, buy it. It's an expensive plane. You want to have good thin CA. I really wish I could talk Horizon into including it somehow, but I just don't think they're ever going to do that because they don't want to sit it on the shelf for 2 years and then sell it and have it fail. My CA I used was opened in 2018. So probably my bad. Anyway, I apologize for any confusion that may have caused you guys. Love the way the plane flies. Love the way it looks. The little bit of modification that we did is probably not necessary. That's why we didn't even share it. But I'm just pointing out the fact that we did do that. If you run into the same situation, you could try to use that as a potential workaround. I didn't want to tear everything apart. Love this plane, guys. If you haven't already bought one, also this decal comes unattached. I'm not sure if I'm into it or not. Also, there's some decals that they include on the side. Not sure if I'm into those either, but I kind of thought it looked cool on the side. And then up here, look at this. Look at the attention to detail in the electronics, guys. Look at this. Look, you can see all the servos. You can see all the wires nice and tidy. We did move our antenna. These are the wing nuts. You undo that, or wing bolts in this case.
And that's it.
And then look how easy this is. Antenna's taken off, not broken. That is just amazing. And then down here you have one pin, and you pull that thing out and you're done. So you got one nut to undo, one thing, you can pull the wing off. I don't want to do it in the wind and have it mar the finish, but it's a really well put together plane. Do the wings come off as easy as the Draco? No, but they're almost as easy as the Draco. So a couple thoughts. Does this fly better than the Draco? I would say it's very close in the realm of the Draco. I would say the Draco is probably a little bit inferior in flight performance to this plane, and it is more inferior than the Carbon Z Cub SS 2.1. In my opinion, I think that flies better than this, but some of the people at Horizon say this flies better. Maybe it's because we've only flown it in the high winds. I'm thinking that's probably it right now. So in the realm of Carbon Z Cub, Draco, and Beaver, FMS 2-meter Beaver, I would say it's right up there with those three. We've done them recently. They're all very, very good planes. The Draco, of course, is the most expensive of the lot. But if you're going to do this in a tricycle configuration, you're going to have some cash out there. So that being said, I would say this is a great plane, definitely worth your serious consideration. If you need to get a Carbon Z Cub, but you dread the idea of taking the wings off, I don't blame you. This one comes off a lot quicker, a lot easier, less pins, less things to lose in the grass. Two pins, two things that shoot through. You put those in your pocket, 2 screws, and your wings come off and you're done. It's really not hard. It has tons of ground clearance too. So lots of different answers, lots of great things on this plane. Couple of different annoying features. Obviously the Avian ESC is not one of them. Obviously the AR637 TA is not one of them. Very good. Loving that combination in these bind and flies. If you watch our build video, even if you just skip forward to our problems with those bolts, you probably save yourself an hour of frustration.
Yep.
So other than that, love the plane. What do you think, camera crew?
It's very cool.
How did it film?
Red is always good because
Yeah.
it's so striking, especially when there's no clouds.
Right.
It's just great. And it's big and it's impressive in the air.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna look phenomenal when we get some calm weather,
Yeah.
because even though it'll do it in the wind, same thing with the Carbon Z Cub, same thing with the Draco. I mean, some planes, you know, like jets where you can really slow them down to get your nice touchdowns, wind is your friend. On these type of planes, I feel like they get buffeted around enough, even with the AS3X, that they just don't look as good as they could. So we are definitely gonna do an early evening flight, get you a look at the LEDs and get you a look at the flight performance and some more calm. Because if it's up to me, it would always be calm for every flight, but it's just not practical. And I want you guys to know that if you fly in wind a lot, especially like directional wind, like let's say you live on the coast and you've got like a coastal breeze that's always coming in at 10 miles an hour, this thing would be glorious. It would look phenomenal. And that's pretty much true for most planes you're gonna fly. But I would say this plane in particular would do really good because you could make that thing just slope almost, you know? And it would slope for sure. Pretty much all planes will slope, but I think it would look amazing, especially when you get in there and see, look how big the control surfaces are. It doesn't feel out of control or insane, but I love the way it looks. Look at the throw on all these things, guys. It's just everything it's doing a good job. Like I said, except for the springs. And those springs could be easily rectified, so I'm not gonna beat it up anymore. All right, guys, if you haven't already bought one, don't forget you can help support our channel. It's a big deal to us. It may not be a big issue for you. You know, hey, how hard is it to type horizonhobby.com? All you have to do is click the video description, follow the link. You'll be getting some commission to us, which helps fund our channel. You don't pay us any extra. You don't pay the company any extra. And if maybe it's not this plane, maybe it's another plane down below. But either way, we do there's a lot of effort that goes into these videos, and we appreciate you guys following the links. If you want to give us a pat on the back, it would be much appreciated. And even if you hate the video, if you follow the links, then we promise to be less annoying the next time. And make a shorter video. Yeah, right. Anyway, all right, that's all we got for you guys. Stay tuned, there's more coming. Also, if you don't want to buy the planes, we got Patreon below, we got PayPal down below if you don't like monthly giving. And then obviously tons of other things and ways you can support the channel. We love bringing this stuff to you. All the newest, latest, and greatest in the hobby here on Brian Phillips RC. Obviously, thanks to the camera crew for helping us do this. We're gonna be getting you another flight either right now or right before. Either way, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the build, unbox build, and radio setup.